And we are live. Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake helping you create something awesome today. Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a very special stream for you. I have a special guest. The one and only Derral Eves will be joining me here on the stream, and we will be talking about the biggest mistakes you are making on YouTube in 2021 and beyond, how to grow a successful YouTube channel, and the YouTube formula that Derral Eves has mastered, perfected, and crafted to help some of the largest content creators succeed on YouTube. So you're going to learn the secrets of folks like MrBeast, Zealous, Arac, and more. And I cannot wait to talk to Derral. It's been way too long since the last time I saw him at VidSummit, and I just really love this man. He is so generous with his time, his expertise. He's been a friend to me in this community for a very long time and helped me personally grow as a creator. So I'm really excited, but I also am excited to talk to you guys about our sponsors that make all this happen. Both StreamYard and TubeBuddy are friends of the channel. They help all creators, and I'm really proud to be working with them. So if you want to check them out, links are in the description down below. You can check them out for free, and I really encourage you to do that, especially StreamYard. It is underrated as a streaming tool. I'm actually using it, and it's helped me with having a much better, much more robust live stream, being able to bring on great guests for you guys, and I'm able to do a lot of cool stuff. So if you're enjoying that, then make sure that you check them out. Links are in the description down below. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to my good friend, Derral Eves. Derral, how's it going?
Doing great, Roberto. How you doing, man?
I am doing awesome. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute, and I love the setup. The setup is epic, man. I love it. So.
Yeah, I just forgot to do a clean via HDMI out for the top angle for my third camera. Even I make mistakes.
That's the way it works sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So, well, cool. Well, I'm excited to be here, and I think a lot of people, that are just getting introduced to YouTube or have been on YouTube for a long time, I know that in this next little bit, Roberto and I are going to bring a lot of value. We have a lot of different types of experience. I have a different types of background, and I'm excited just to be here and to really help people.
Well, Derral's being extraordinarily modest. I think Derral has done 20 gold play buttons at this point. Is or am I lowballing it now?
So personal 24.
24.
So, yeah.
See, I'm lowballing it.
We have a couple other ones coming up this year. I'm really excited about these two. So
nice. Yeah, this is the mastermind behind some of the biggest channels here on YouTube. Derral, I want to talk to you really quickly about the concept of a YouTube formula. I really want to kind of cut to the chase even on that. There are people who are very cynical and will say there is no formula for success, and if there was, everybody would do it. And so, but you literally have been able to prove time and time again, many of our friends have, but literally there's nobody in the YouTube coaching space who can make the claims that you have made. You have literally taken channels from 0 to 1 million subscribers. You've helped put world records on the map, and you've managed and helped large content creators like MrBeast. You've been a part of the YouTube community almost pretty much from the very beginning. So to the people who would be cynical about there being no proven formula for success on YouTube or in general, what would you say to them? Because I mean, you've got the results, man.
I mean, the whole thing is if they want to keep on believing that, then they're going to get the results that they are currently getting. And my thing is there's people that I want to help, and these are the people that are looking for help and looking for knowledge. The people that are cynical at everything, oh, that didn't work. They might not necessarily understand the full concept of every principle, and they need to keep on learning and keep on growing and keep on analyzing and adjusting. And I think that's the key there. And so I'm very bold to them. You can have your own opinion and how you want to believe the way that it is. I'll continue to have the same opinion that I have, and I will continue to have the success that it brings, because understanding the YouTube formula will help you really better navigate the landscape of the platform. And when you understand that, when you're not working against things, that you're actually in harmony with the platform itself, that's when you actually have growth. And I'm telling you, whether you want to accept it or not, I have generated 60 billion video views on YouTube, and 1 billion of them was just dumb luck. I'll honestly admit to that.
60 billion, but 1 billion of it was dumb luck?
Yeah, 1 billion was dumb luck. But that wasn't dumb luck. that 1 billion of dumb luck was just dumb luck, but the 59 billion wasn't. It was very strategic. It was very planned out. It was very organized and really methodical in the process of doing it. And so this happens all the time. And then you're having creators that understand the essence of what YouTube is, and they're almost pulling 1 billion video views a month based off of all that they're doing. Now think about that for a second. I mean, they're dwarfing anything that anyone else is doing out there. And you're telling me that it's just because YouTube loves them? I don't think so. I think it's what responds, and YouTube responds to humans, and you need to understand the components of that. But other than that, I think, people can be cynical, and I'll let them. I just don't want to waste energy and time on trying to combat them. I'm just going to give the information out there for the people that want to learn.
Well said, and I couldn't agree more. And I think it's absurd to believe that a multi-billion-dollar company is going to arbitrarily pick winners and losers in that fashion. And I think that I have the belief, and I think you share this, that you could look at YouTube and you could decide that you're going to treat your YouTube career very much the way that people treat a sports career, that you can think about it as building yourself up as an athlete, building yourself up as a content creator. What are the fundamentals? What are the strengths of that? Because if you want to play a sport, regardless of the sport, regardless of the rules, at the end of the day, you got to have strong lungs, strong muscles, a strong mental fortitude and discipline, and you have to be willing to learn the rules of the game that you're playing.
And more importantly, you got to understand the fundamentals.
Fundamentals.
And when you understand the fundamentals, doesn't matter how talented you are, those fundamentals are key, because you could have the most engaging personality, be the best looking person in the world, and you still get no views because the fundamentals are key to really have that growth. And I think this is by far the essence of why a lot of people are frustrated with YouTube, is because they believe in their heart and in their mind that they're doing exactly what they believe is to be the fundamentals, but they're missing the mark because the data doesn't prove, it doesn't really validate that they are doing the fundamentals. There's some disconnect somewhere.
No, I agree with that 100%, Derral. And thank you, Doc Williams, for the super chat. Thank you, Chef Kep, for the super chat. And also, we have our friend John here, who is actually one of your jump starters, John from You Do It.
John's awesome, man.
Yes, he is
so awesome, man.
Yes, he is. And I'm proud to also have him in Awesome Creator Academy as well. And we always see him at VidSummit, and he's just such a breath of fresh air. He's such a wonderful person. But speaking of wonderful people, Derral, I just want to personally thank you for always being there for me. And whenever I reach out, even whenever I'm in my own head about things, you've always been massively supportive of me in this community. And I'm tearing up a little. It's I really do appreciate you. I do love you, brother.
No, and I do too. I love you, and you've helped me at times, whether you've known it or not. And that's what true collaboration and friendship is. And I think that the tone of that is a lot of creators, a lot of companies view, they're a competitor. There's no way in a million years I can compete with you, Roberto. What you're doing is the God-given gifts that you have, the talents that you have. I can't do 99% of the stuff that you do. And I think that, if we're synergistic, then we can actually lift the world into a better place. And so I do believe that that's something that I made an early decision on. With one of the first educators in the space, Tim Schmoyer.
Yes.
And he's one of my favorite friends in the world of all time. And I can tell you that type of synergy there's so much opportunity out there. If we focus in on, you can't do that because we're competing, I think you're missing the point of, the true opportunity out there, which is there's so many different ways to go after it. And we have our own personalities and our own strengths. And some people might gravitate to you or gravitate to me or gravitate to Nick or whoever. And they're going to get what they're looking for sure.
Absolutely. That gives me the perfect segue. Let's talk about YouTube mistakes, and let's talk about the YouTube formula.
Yeah.
How can creators, Derral, actually find their strengths? A lot of people, they're like, what do I make? I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a YouTuber. It's all I've ever wanted, but I don't know what content to make. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to find a niche. I don't want a niche. I want to be able to make whatever I want and people love me for it. How does a YouTuber find their strengths?
So I want to address the first issue first. Okay, if you're just coming into YouTube for the opportunity, that's great. That will take you that first step down the road. But I've seen content creators come in and they change their mind every 2 to 3 months of the direction that they're going. That's not a very good idea. It's a horrible idea to do. And so there's another aspect of it. You have to actually be passionate about what you're getting into. Now, if you're an entertainer, then you just got to figure out what your vertical is. But you're passionate about entertaining, and you want to get people to laugh, and get people to remember the things that you're saying. That's great. And so a big mistake right out of the gate is just jumping into it and trying to say, oh, they make a lot of money, and so I'm going to open up toys. Oh, they make a lot of money. I'm going to go do vlogs. Oh, they make a ton of brand deals. I'm going to be the Casey Neistat. Or I'm going to go give away money because that's what MrBeast does, and he's super successful. And that's the secret of his success, right? And so
It's really not.
yeah, but I think that's the big mistake that most people make in that realm, is not having an idea of what they're passionate about. And so I'm going to give you a perfect example.
Okay.
A good friend of both of ours is a very successful entrepreneur. Okay, and like super successful, and he's built careers and businesses. He even built products that have taken off. Pat Flynn. Okay.
Yes.
And Pat is a really good friend, and we've talked several times about strategy and so on and so forth. And he approached me about, hey, what do I do? I'm really passionate about this new channel I want to start. And so we went through the process of, why he's passionate about it. What's the interest? I go, okay, now tell me, this is not because you're doing it. He's like, Derral, I've been collecting Pokemon cards for a very long time. Like, this is my thing, man. And so like, all right, like own in on that. And then we talked about a strategy of what he's able to do. And so there's a lot of people that just don't get it, that they see, oh, here's Pat starting a brand new YouTube channel. It's starting to see some success, and they think that it's because of X, Y, or Z. But realistically, he's smart, but he is specifically his viewer. Like, he understands what the viewer wants, because he's like, that's my community. This is my people. This is my jam.
Yes.
And that's the difference between starting out by just saying, oh, I want to do that, and starting out where you're like, oh, I'm doing this because I want to see that type of content. It's not out there. Like, people aren't doing it this way, and you're able to see the growth that he's able to get. Now, is he? I don't even know. I haven't even checked today, but
Deep Pocket Monster. Yeah, by the way, the channel is Deep Pocket Monster, everybody, if you want to look at what's happening.
100K views in 13 days, and it's just his hobby channel. And
yeah,
the cool thing is Pat and his son are coming in as new students of mine in channel Jumpstart, just so they can understand more about the formula. But the biggest hurdle that he has is having that passion, and he doesn't really have to go over that hurdle. He'll use that hurdle as a stepping stone to get him to that next level and take him where he wants to be. And so it's going to be just all about the next part of the process, which is really understanding what content will work for the audience and having him to have a better understanding. Even though he says that that's his people, it's true and it will resonate, but he has to understand what really ignites and engages the people. And I think that with some of the strategies that he's employing right now, it's happening.
So, like, what's an example? What's an example of a strategy like that, and what's an example of the whole concept of, okay, what will resonate with the audience? Because if you are the audience, if you are making the content you yourself would want to see, what would also keep that from necessarily working? What's the barrier there? Because we can say, oh, well, I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about Star Wars. I'm passionate about Pokemon. I'm passionate about whatever, and I'll make what I would want to see. But you said it yourself. There are things that will and won't resonate with the audience. How do we determine that?
Yeah, so I think that when I go define, and so when I give the stat 24 channels to reach 1 million subscribers each, it started with the plan. It started with understanding what we wanted to do. So like, I've helped a lot more channels get to 1 million subscribers. I'll put that out there. But the key is I created a plan. We executed on that plan. we analyzed and adjusted along the way until we hit 1 million subscribers. And so one of the very first things that I do when I teach my students, and it's a very prominent section in the book, which is understanding people and understanding their demographics, psychographics, what they do online, offline, and understand their behavior in the world, and that will give you the reasons of what's going to actually hit. Because like some people go onto YouTube, believe it or not, to de-stress from a very hard day at school or a very hard day at work. They're not necessarily going for entertainment. I hope that you understand that. They go for, this is more of a, some mental health where they're like,
entertainment is just a means to an end. It's a means to an end.
Yeah.
They're trying to find relief.
They get relief. They get relief. Well, it's kind of, they can just go and just kind of discover things or whatever it may be, but they're not actively going there. Now, a lot of people will go, I have to go because Laserbeam just released his freaking video. I got to go watch him, or, you have Dream that did it, whoever it is, they're going to go for that. That's a totally different reason for why someone is de-stressing. I want you to completely understand that. And then you have people that are like, man, I want to learn something, and this is broke on my car. They go to YouTube. They pull out their phone or their iPad, and they're trying to fix something. Everyone's going to YouTube for a reason. And I can say, Roberto, and I haven't really done a lot of presentations on traffic sources and stuff like that, but that's why I'm so passionate about traffic sources, is because you can understand the intentions of people, right? So if they're coming on, if the traffic source is browse feature and it's not suggested, there's different intentions of the viewer in that relationship of where they actually find the content. That's a very big deal.
Would you say that that's a more casual viewer? Because that's how you like to frame it.
Yeah.
The browse.
So browse is browse is very specific, where they're coming onto YouTube for the first time. Okay, so whether it's like, oh, I got to go to my subscription feed, so it just depends where that traffic is. So you have to deep dive a little bit deeper into it. But if it's going to subscription, they want to go immediate to the people that they care about, the people that they subscribe to. Okay, now that's a very low number. They still watch the people that they're into, but most of the people actually go to YouTube because it's a curated list of things that they're into at that moment, based off of their watch history at that moment, the creators that are engaging. That's the type of content that you'll see. So if I go to my YouTube homepage, I'm going to have a different YouTube homepage than you. But the difference is, YouTube hasn't seen the patterns of my behavior and is going to recommend content that would be most likely for me to click. And that right there, I would say, is that entry point. And then, Roberto, the difference would be is they've watched another video to get suggested. So they're already in the immersion process. And so that would be, okay, they're already there. So are they there because of, and this is really important, are they there because they searched? Are they there because they come on homepage? And then what's that next video that's being suggested? And then is it taking them deeper down the rabbit hole, or is it getting them something else that they're interested into? So those are your suggestion options. And I think that's when you totally understand the viewer relationship with the content. And then that's where it starts. And then as you dig in deeper to your content, you can understand, oh, okay, well, they dropped off. Well, something's disconnected here, and you can kind of dig deep in creating hypothesis, which I do all the time, and then validating the hypothesis through testing, which is the adjustment portion of growth.
No, that's actually really great, and that's fascinating. And the thing is, I've seen exactly the same thing when I look at my own data, when I look at some of my clients, when I look at like the new channel that I started, the music channel. That's something where I've really honed in on that and understand that there's a different psychology to each of these traffic sources, and it's about viewer intent. You talked about the importance of understanding people, and I think that when people look at the YouTube algorithm, they're making the mistake of really becoming obsessed with the algorithm. You and I are data-driven guys. We love data. We're nerds. We're all about it. But that data is just a reflection of human behavior, and it's a way to measure human behavior. It's a way to curate and organize and visualize human behavior. That's really all it is. How do you get somebody to understand people more? I'm an introvert, but I feel that I have a decent understanding of people. But how does someone who's not necessarily extroverted or wasn't like one of the cool kids in school or something like that, who is a natural, how does somebody really deeply understand human behavior.
Well, I would say the cool kids in school probably don't understand human behavior as much as the people that are observant. So you have to observe, people and how they react. And people are predictable, like we are.
Yeah, that's
We're
true.
very, very predictable, and there are patterns of predictability. And so when you have patterns of predictability, you just have to observe what's actually happening. Now, that being said, the people that, and this is really important, this will validate my point, but the people that are the star of the show aren't the ones that are most likely to observe of everything else that's going on in the world, because the world revolves around them instead of them seeing that they're just a piece of the world. And not to put anyone down, but that's the reason why I truly do love working with MrBeast, is because here he is, the top of his game. He's probably the smartest person in the YouTube space I've ever met. He surrounds himself by people that he can learn from all the time, but he lives in an average house. He doesn't buy anything extravagant. He's just obsessed, and all he does is observe. He observes what's going on. He actually understands the pulse of the internet and people and his channel and other channels more than anyone else that I've seen. And it is because he's in that observation mode. And I think that's something that really, to fix some of the problems that we're facing in the world today, could be done if we will just take a step back and not be quick to vocalize things, but observe what's actually truly happening. And when you see that, then it's easier to make better decisions. And that's where I think a lot of content creators on YouTube could do it as well, is because it's not clouded by this assumption, no, I'm right, this can't be right. That type of mentality is wrong, because really the best decision always wins. The data-driven decision always wins. And let me just give you a perfect example of this. So I have a YouTube channel. I think it's 700. I don't even know where it's at. I think it's like 734,000 subscribers. It's called The Chosen. My partner with that is Dallas Jenkins. He's probably one of the smartest creators I've ever come across in his vein. Yep. And we strategize and go everything. And we very early, like 3 years ago, before we started any of the planning, we made a pact. And this pact was the best decision always wins. Okay? The best decision always wins. And then we made, and this is really important, we made our own guidelines and rules of anything that, like the things that we were never going to do. So the best decision is going to win, but based off of these things that we'd never do. And we get a lot of flack every once in a while because people, just the nature of the content, people are thinking that we need to be a little bit more serious when we're just easygoing, and we're just us. We're just natural. But it's the best decision always wins. And I think if you take this back and you extrapolate that from what I'm teaching you here, it's be quick to observe, set in stone what you will and will not do, and understand when you're willing to do it, the best decision, which is the data-driven decision, because data doesn't lie. You can
so have like a prime directive for the nerds out there. Have a prime directive, okay, and then beyond that prime directive, be driven by the data. Be a Vulcan about it.
Yeah, no, it would be amazing, and I think once you do that, then it gives you a kind of a compass, a North Star of where you're going. Any of my students and anyone that works with me, including MrBeast, if they do not answer questions right, will not work with me. And the reason why is I have my own prime directive of what I'm doing, and I have my own list, because I literally do not want to waste my time. The time is the most valuable thing that we have, and we have a limited amount of resources of that.
Yes.
And so I'm not going to waste my time on someone else. And so for me, it's counterintuitive. They're going down a direction that I won't go. To help them, it's not good for them. It's not good for me. And so I think all creators need to do that. And then two, be willing to reposition yourself. Like, don't be so staunch that this is what my content is, that you can't observe of what your content can be. And you have to evolve as your audience evolves. And I'm not saying sell out. By no means am I saying sell out. It's just better. It's having a better understanding of who your audience really is.
Yes, I agree with that 1000%. And I've seen that be successful with creators. I've seen that be successful in general with anyone in entrepreneurship and business. I feel that I found myself, this is a tip. This is a tip for anybody. I had a video that did 100,000 views recently, with a lot of that coming from browse. And it was the social media is over. You need a website and email list. I've tried to make videos where I try to preach the gospel of having your own website and having your own online presence before, and the videos, did okay or they fell flat completely. This one overperformed beyond any expectations I had.
Let's stop. Let's stop right there before you say that, because this is where my mind goes immediately. That was the best title that you could possibly do in the dynamic of what's going on right now, because how many people, and we don't need to get into the reasons why or anything like that, but
I didn't in the video.
Yeah, but how many people have now been canceled? Like even having Parler where it was taken off of Amazon servers and stuff like that. It's like there's a lot of issues that are facing that, and that's very top of mind for a lot of people in the world, and it's on both sides, not just one side. And so
yes.
Wait, this is gonna be very restrictive. So you're engaging it in a way that people are like going, oh, I get it. I'm gonna.
And the entire video, I was positive. That's the irony. The entire video was helpful, actionable, real advice. But you're right, and it clicked for me. It's like timing is a variable that requires a specific skill set to understand. How do you help creators understand the value of timing?
But here's the thing: is you've made a very positive video. Okay, a positive video giving them there. Now, knowing what you know now of the, like, and you knew this before, I'm not going to say, I'm not putting, words in your mouth or anything like that, but knowing what you know now, that you could have actually made that video better because of the response, right? And seeing people's comments, right? And seeing people, how they engage with it.
Yes, absolutely. Which was wonderful, by the way. Yeah, the comments were people were very pleased with everything that I put forth in the video and the way that I explained things to them and made them click and connect in a way that they hadn't before. And it's like, and it's one of those things to where it's like every single video I believe is an opportunity to learn, Derral. I believe every video is a learning opportunity to learn more about your audience, more about your process, more about yourself, and refine things. And there's so many things that I learned from that video that I think will make every video better going forward.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of relevance in that. Now, there's some people like me that are not willing to wait for every video, and there's other ways to test it. So, and this is a really big concept for people, but some of the biggest creators, they're able to test content and see content succeed before they even release their video.
How does that happen?
That happens all the time, and it all comes back down to understanding the viewer, understanding good editors. But one thing that that people are so satisfied with their creation that they're not as critical where they need to be critical, and they will let slide things that happen. And so,
what are some ways we can be more critical about our content?
Yeah, let me kind of explain, and this is really important. So, if I was starting a brand new YouTube channel, which I did just about a month ago, I would make content, which I did, and then I would see how it's laid out based off of the data that I have, and then I'd let people watch it, and I want to see them react to it. And I don't tell them that it's my video. I don't tell them that it's anything from there. I just just be critical for this type of content, and then seeing how they rip it apart. Now, this is a very, very important statement. If they're not your target viewer, your target avatar, then what they're saying doesn't have a lot of relevance. You have to find the people that actually will find it engaging. And that's the difference, because a lot of people will look at a MrBeast video and say, I don't get it. I don't see why people think this is entertaining. And then they'll look at other content like, I don't get it. I don't see why people see this as entertaining. So that's the challenge that you're facing. So you have to find a group of people that you can trust, that can understand retention, and you basically can test out content. And there are Discord rooms all over the world that are servers that are designated where people are like, hey, take a look at this.
I love
or whatever,
Discord.
And getting feedback by the right people. Now, keep in mind, you have to make sure that circle is tight, because you might have someone take your idea and release it before you do.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen too. And so having these little small masterminds are awesome. And it's worked for me every set of the time. However, I found too, there's other platforms that you can do that no YouTuber will ever go on. And we've done a lot of testing on Facebook, and we're very targeted tests where it's an ad. And you can see the responsiveness of it, and you can start getting some of that data back. And then you can say, okay, here's the same demographics that we're looking for. Let's translate that over to YouTube, and let's see where we're able to go from there.
No, I love it. You know what? When you say that, and it's true, because I've tested ideas and things with other people, and there are larger content creators who have tested things with me, and and I have to say that a lot of people are very humble in the sense that they will go to somebody that has literally 1,000 times less of an audience than them, and will take that advice from them, because they know that, hey, you may not have these numbers that you're putting on the board, but you have an eye for what will work, and you're also part of the audience that would watch this, and you can give really strong criticism or feedback, or it's someone that they know won't sugarcoat things or won't suck up to them. You need people who can be brutally honest with you and tell you, hey, this could be better, or hey, this could be faster paced, or hey, this doesn't fit. You need people who can do that.
So let me take it a step further. So I do have a degree in advertising marketing, and we'd always do sample sizing. We would always do surveying and trying to understand kind of that demographic that would be responsive to it. So for me, one of the big keys for understanding if it's good content or not is I have Gen Z kids. I do. And they have friends, and I'll show them a piece of content, and I don't ask them if they like the video. But as they watch the video, I watch their faces, and I see, did it light up where I think they were going to light up, and where did it disconnect? As soon as I see it disconnect where they pick up their phone and start checking something or whatever, I look at the time code, and I know exactly right where that moment that needs to be fixed. Now, what's interesting from this is you do it right and you do it the right way, you can get an 85, 90% retention rate, and you think that might be unattainable. But I'm living proof that it can happen when you understand your audience, and you can do it every single time that you're speaking to your audience the right way. It's something that they're really wanting to see. And it could be that anticipation video that you've been promising, or it's been integrated into your content for quite some time. Those are the highest retentions. Maybe not your day-to-day or whatever, but those epic videos can be, and you can have it really hit. And I learned this, I really did. I learned this from several different creators. One, and most of these, they have, tens of millions of subscribers. But one, after shooting the video, he says, well, that's not going to work very well. It's just not going to hit. I'm like, what? This is Dan from What's Inside. I'm like, Dan,
nice.
what are you talking about? Because we're recording it in my studio. He goes, yeah, it sucked. Our audience is going to hate it. And sure enough, that was one of the worst videos that he released. It picked up some steam later on, because he was able to tweak a few things, but it was pretty bad. And he knew that. He had that sixth sense, and he realized, hey, that it's not going to perform as well as others, but he was willing to put it out there to gather the data and not just scrap it. Now, Jimmy, on the other hand, MrBeast, he would have scrapped that sucker faster than you can even imagine.
I heard that he scraps about 1 in every 4 videos. Is that true?
It depends. It kind of goes in waves. I've seen it where it was 1 in 6 or 1 in 8. But right now it's about 1 in 3, 1 in 4.
Ooh, that hurts my soul, but yeah. I get it. It's working.
There's a lot of, he tries to do spectacles, and that
right. Well, it hurts my soul calculating the amount of money that is. That's what hurts my soul.
Oh yeah. He when he gives, think about this for a second. When he gives away $100,000 in the video, that's immediately $100,000 for production. That's there. So you have to add all that other stuff. So he's anywhere between $300,000 to $400,000 per video. Yeah. Which is kind of mind blowing as well.
Yeah. Which means net negative just going into the hole on videos that even never get released could be millions of dollars. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
like
it's
not a small
it's
amount of millions
it's
of dollars.
it's a scary thing for sure. So
Interesting. Interesting. Speaking of scary things, so a lot of creators struggle with the anxiety and fear of failure, of fear of failure, of putting their heart and soul into their content only to not get anywhere. You have creators that are in this chat right now. We'll get to some Q&A in a while, and then I want to really go back to talking about this with Derral, because I just feel like this is a very productive conversation for all of you, and I highly recommend that if you're getting any value out of this stream, pre-order the book The YouTube Formula, written by my good friend Derral Eves. Right here, it's like, there you go. And you can learn how to unlock your inner creator. You can finally stop struggling, because, like, again, Derral, just having conversation with you, I've had ideas. Even now, I'm like writing on my whiteboard desk. This is why I have a whiteboard desk, is like, I'm probably getting more out of this than anybody in the chat at this point, but like, there's so much that just in talking to you, I am able to unlock in my own head and think differently about content and about programming and about formats. You're very generous. And so to be able to put this into a book that people, you have worked with creators pay you absurd amounts of money, not because it's not worth it, just because it's a lot of money to work with you, because your time is so valuable. And yet you took the time to write a book and basically put and commit everything you know that you think would truly be helpful with no fluff down on paper. Like, that's insane. And they can get it now. So like, it's $25, and it might be more valuable than almost any course a creator can buy right now. No offense to anyone selling courses, because I'm gonna probably do that too. But the point is, you have really put a lot of heart and soul into making something that I think will benefit people who are putting their heart and soul into their content. And so, like, what would you say to people who feel like they can't do anything right? They've been on YouTube for years and they just don't feel they're breaking through.
Well, I think I can honestly say this, because I've worked with a lot of these people, and they're focusing in on the wrong things. Like, that's the whole reason why I wrote the book, is most people are focusing in on the wrong things, and they find the content that they're creating as the most important factor, instead of really understanding the audience that's going to be watching that content. And so I think that as you get to understand who your audience is and what's valuable to them and what you're passionate about, and really getting that to be synergistic, that's when you're able to grow. And you might think, oh, well, I'm not cute, I'm not whatever. And I'm telling you, I've seen channels with a plan. Like the one that we actually created a plan for, the fastest growing channel that I've ever done to 1 million subscribers outside of the MrBeast verse. Like, can't even compare that at all, because I don't think that's even you can't compare that. Was 28 days, and they went from 0 to 1 million subscribers in 28 days, and then they've capped out about 5 million, because that was kind of their saturation point of subscribers. But the reason why is it really resonated from the first video, and the second video, and the third video, and the fourth video, and the fifth video, and the sixth video, and it just created this swell in the movement, and it was in a dynamic that people found valuable, and that's the key, is understanding who's receiving it, and that they're able to receive value, and they want to see more. They want to see more content.
No, that is really insightful, Derral, and I think that's really helpful. I think that one of the things that I learned from one of the most successful creators in tech, Marques Brownlee, that really stuck with me when he and I talked, was he said that he made the YouTuber that he would want to watch. That was his entire focus on everything in the evolution of his channel over the last decade.
He's even stated, this is the most powerful statement that I've heard from a creator, as of late. But he goes, every video is the first impression, your first impression. And and that if you let that actually sink in, maybe your tolerance of editing should be a little bit, you need to be a little bit more critical with it. And so,
yeah, I agree.
It's really important. And the whole thing too, it's the title, it's the thumbnail, it's the video. It's not just the content, because a lot of people, they probably will never click, and they never get to meet you, and never to experience that video. So,
I tell people that like really get frustrated about making the right title and thumbnail, I remind them that it's like, when we were in school, if you like, if you weren't wearing the name brand thing or stuff like that, you usually got ignored or you got picked on or belittled for it or you got overlooked. If you go out on a date and you like show up and you're like, wrinkled or you got a stain on your shirt and everything like that, it's probably going to be a very bad first impression. So it's like, why wouldn't you put more effort into what people see up front? Because they have no idea if you have quality content if they don't see effort up front in everything that you do.
Yeah, and I think that's a skill that I would love every content creator to achieve. And like that, so far too many people have a good idea for a video. They do. They have an amazing idea for a video, but they have no clue how to explain that in a title and thumbnail. And so they put all this energy and effort into the video when no one's going to click on it. And that is it worth the time and energy of putting it into the video, no matter how amazing that video is, if no one's going to click on it? And so the thing for me is you'll never in a million years catch me creating a video, putting hundreds of thousands of dollars or even $1 towards a video if I can't figure out what's going to get people to click, And is it like all about as many views as possible? No, it's just getting the right people to click, because if you get the right people to click and engage with your content, the algorithm does its thing, which is find other people like the people that currently enjoy your video. And that's where you're able to see growth. And I think that's what happened with you, Roberto, of getting all those views on that. It was very relevant at the time. They put it on the homepage. People saw it. It was something that was top of their mind. They're like, I'm interested, and if they didn't find value in that first little bit, then guess what? YouTube would have stripped that from the homepage, and you wouldn't have gotten more impressions of people seeing it on their homepages.
And I worked my butt off on that thumbnail. I had a specific photo with the body language expression. I had to find this thing of the Twitter bird keeled over. I handcrafted that YouTube sad or scared face that I have. Yeah. I did that myself in Photoshop. That's not stock photo you can get anywhere. I had to work for that really hard. And I think that the thing for me is I try to craft what I think will be effective thumbnails, but I also am because of my background as a graphic designer, I have a very specific sense of the concept of brand and aesthetic. And sometimes that gets in the way of what's an effective thumbnail versus what's a good looking thumbnail, because a little bit of my vanity, a little bit of the place where I do have ego is the pride I take in just making something that feels good to a graphic designer is not the same thing as crafting a perfect thumbnail for a YouTube audience.
Yeah. So I got to do a little shout out to the comments. So Chucky is he just replied as MrBeast Shorts.
Hey Chucky.
Chucky and I
just followed him on Clubhouse.
Like seriously, Chucky and I don't even know, Chucky, if we can go into the detail, but they're gimme. No. We'll go in to make this the most elaborate setup, for the thumbnail. We have all this other stuff. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just very, very intense. And, this is the moment that MrBeast has never seen it. He's had it in his mind, but it's now laid out in person. And we get there and he's like, this is not going to work. He's like, no, it's not going to work. And so Chucky's all scrambling to try to make it work. And so he's handled a lot of the thumbnails over the years that you've seen on MrBeast. And what's interesting is there's a lot of process of what's going to look like. And I can honestly say it's a small little details. It might take him sometimes 3 or 4 days to get those small little details in play. It might not look like it from that other perspective, but that's the type of someone obsessing over those small little details that makes the biggest difference. So
I agree. I think attention to detail in any aspect of your career. And I think that creators, if you're watching this, I want you to start thinking of YouTube. If you want to be a full-time creator, if you want to be successful, I think you have to think of it like any other career. And in any other career, to excel, to perform, to succeed, to be a top-tier performer, you have to be willing to master your craft. You have to pay attention to detail, and you have to be consistent. And that will always be true, whether you're wanting to climb the top of the corporate ladder, the top of the YouTube charts, or whether you want to be an athlete, whether you want to be a musician, whether you want to be a dancer, whether you want to be a rock star, it will always be true that attention to detail, consistency, mastery of your craft, and devotion to your calling will always matter.
Well, I mean, that right there is, I think, a great segue to really understand greatness, okay? It doesn't matter what industry you go in, you want to look for patterns of success. And that's kind of key of who's doing what and why. And I get so many people coming in with the arrogance to say, "Oh, my content is so good. I don't understand why they're doing it." Well, there's a reason why that they're succeeding and you're stuck where you're at. And I say that because, if they can't accept that, then they need to move on. What they need to do is look for what did happen and why do they come back and why are they watching every video? There's something that you're missing, something that you need to understand. And it's not just because they have a great title and thumbnail. There's something that's pulling them back video after video and increasing their viewership patterns. And so I think every creator, if they want to succeed, they need to look for those patterns of success. They need to see who is who in the industry, maybe in their vertical or other verticals, and question why. Why are they editing like that? Why did they choose the title and thumbnail like that? Why are they using that hook? Why are they doing that juxtaposition? Why are they using sound design like that? Why are they doing VFX there but not there? Why is that just a straight shot? Just really just asking all those questions why. And you'll start to see patterns because success can be mimicked. It can. You can literally mimic success. You have to have the elements of what we call the fundamentals of doing that, and that will take you up to a specific point, and then you'll plateau. And if you want to break through that, then there's another pattern of really the type of engagement. Now, I can say. This is true. I might not necessarily agree with all their content, but the Paul brothers, they're really amazing at getting people to talk about them. Like they are just flat out, and they're relevant all the time.
I share your assessment of that 100%.
Yeah.
We can disagree on certain things, but we can't deny work ethic or their understanding of the platform.
100%. So the key to that is that's a different level and a different skill set. But you can look at it of what they're doing and how they're doing it. Maybe not approaching it the same way, but they're creating relevance by the things that they're doing, and they're very strategic by that. And so I'm always excited to be someone that takes their creator hat off and put the viewer hat on, and it's more of a student hat, and just try to see why people are doing certain things, and really look for those patterns, because you might be able to predict things that you're not able to see unless you look at it through that lens. And you might say, "Oh, this way," but no, you can see that you can see the progression of things, and you can see how powerful it is.
I saw creators look at what the Pauls were doing at the beginning of their peak in 2016, and I can honestly attribute the change in the style of YouTube thumbnails across the largest content creators to Jake and Logan Paul. I'm not even joking. I watched it happen in real time. I think you saw that too. Even if you look at Linus Tech Tips, his thumbnail strategy completely changed in response to him observing what the Paul brothers were doing, and then they changed that across all of their YouTube channels with regard to their thumbnail strategy. Because I'd seen them do the same thumbnail strategy for years and then just rapidly change it. And I know that was the catalyst.
It became more prevalent because it's like, wait a minute, this is not banging like normal. There's something that needs to be there. People are not clicking or engaging. And so they're willing to really take time to go through the data and the science behind some of the thumbnails. Like if you saw the process, Roberto, that I go through for thumbnails, I like that could be its own book. It really can. and I do allude to a lot of those things in the current book, but it's not just a thumbnail book. In a
post-COVID world, can I go and like literally just sit there and just like, get some popcorn and watch?
Well, there's times like you as a designer can appreciate this. So you're a designer, right? Have you ever done a collective design before?
Yes.
Okay, so collective designing is one of the most powerful ways. So when you have multiple people that understand elements of design and understands of human behavior come together, on making, a thumbnail. Like, let me give you the perfect example of it, and I can talk publicly about this one. But
Sure.
MrBeast did a YouTube Rewind video, and on the video itself, he's just passionate about the community. He's passionate about creators. On the thumbnail design, there was 5 thumbnail designers, and I would consider myself a thumbnail designer in that. So as one of the 5 that was on for 2 freaking days trying to get that thumbnail just right, man. And it's just like, it's those little small details, and you wouldn't even. Some of the stuff that was being designed, the elements that were even being covered up by some of the creators that are there, and you might think, oh, that's a simple thumbnail, but the detail of it, of the masks and everything, all those little elements, it like you even look in the backdrop, like no one's going to see the detail, but we were spending time on the detail because the details really matter on that. And so it's like that collective design. It makes a difference because I'll just say, hey, this sucks here, try that. And they're like, oh, no, that's not good, but let's try it anyway. Oh, no, that actually looks pretty good. Or this is that, we do that. And it's that collectiveness that we were able to take a step back and say, that's a good thumbnail.
That's the thing I think I miss about working at an ad agency is that having that experience and having those different perspectives and different people's styles be represented in a singular project is the thing that I miss, which is the thing that actually sometimes is very hard working as a solo creator. As you know, I've hired people into my coaching business, but I still do most of everything YouTube operations on my own right now, which is changing. And I get freelance help every now and again. But in terms of having people right there with you in the process, it can make all the difference. And I think it's a way to get 10 times better.
It is better because you basically are making a group decision instead of an individual decision. So you're already doing a better data-driven decision because you have other people that have experience. This is, no, this looks good, or no, this is the reason why. And then when they say the reason why, it's because it looks bad. No, they're actually explaining why. Well, it pulls away from the face. Like that right there, or whatever the element of focus, And
yes,
I think that's the things that we can always do. Now, keep in mind, there's some channels that don't need to do the depth of the design that we do there, but it should explain why people should click. It should tell a story without putting words on it.
Yes,
there's so many creators that slap words after words after words after words. And on a thumbnail, and you're competing with the title now. I don't know what to look at.
My thumbnails are performing. You're right. When I started doing more conceptual thumbnails, Derral, when I started thinking about how can I, if you don't have to read more than 3 words or 2 words or 0 words or 1 word, how can I convey the thought, feeling, or emotion that's most relevant to this, or at least the most relevant aspects of this with images and graphics alone? Like, my videos started performing better and they started hitting the right people.
Well, because I can honestly say that I even mentioned this in the book, but I frustrate my wife every day. And I don't mean that in every sense, but when we actually get to go to watch a video or something, I'm just looking at thumbnails, man. That's all I do. I would rather look at thumbnails than watch a movie, and it just drives her freaking batty. But for me, and when you understand the clickability of going into this is true, and I want everyone to do this if you have time. But if you have a Netflix account, you might have multiple people in there. Go look at the same titles and see how it changes if you scroll through it a few times. The thumbnail will dynamically shift. Based off of your viewing patterns, and there's certain things that are there. Now, there was articles that were driven that were saying, oh, Netflix is racist or whatever, blah, 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 blah. But what they're doing is catering to the audience, and that's true. And, you have a different cultural diversity background than I do, Roberto. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, if we go and log into Netflix, it will reflect differently. YouTube
absolutely.
Netflix would already know that. And,
yes.
And what would get someone to click is different, and they have dialed that in, and you're seeing that starting to translate over a lot to YouTube as well.
I hear rumblings that YouTube is not necessarily moving in the dynamic thumbnail direction, although I hope, because then I will. There's so many opportunities there, and I'm really excited about it. I'm really salivating, but they are collecting and requesting us to opt in more information with regard to our background and identity to help user preference, and then to also help people find content that appeals to them more. And it's, while it's considered controversial, I just don't think there's anything wrong with that, because I view the perspective that YouTube does everything it does outside of a business sense, where making money matters, because yes, capitalism, yes, but they are doing, in my opinion, almost every decision they make is in the service of the viewer, outside of anything that's necessary for the survival of the platform. Everything that YouTube does, in my opinion, is in the service of the viewer. And as a viewer, I can see that, whereas a creator, there might be some frustration, but that frustration only happens when you're not aligned with the audience, in my opinion.
So if you ever want the most amazing viewing experience on YouTube, you fill out a survey. Like they pop up after videos, and you explain, was that hitting the mark or whatever. You do that a couple times, and you are giving those data points back to the AI, what they couldn't necessarily see, right? And it's something that is the human feedback, is that one little variable of data that kind of completes the picture for the AI. And I've done that, and I can tell you my viewing experience is improved, where every video that I saw was one that I wanted to click on. And I do believe, once you understand the ecosystem of YouTube, you know, if you're going there to really have an amazing experience, or you're going there to learn or whatever, the more feedback that you can give them, i.e. the videos that you're watching and really engaging with, but more so filling out any survey data, form data, it will give the profile, your profile as a viewer, more information for the AI to understand and to predict. And I'm telling you that AI is off the charts right now. So
I think that the YouTube, sorry about that. I think that the YouTube AI does a better job of understanding the hidden patterns in my own psychology as a viewer than anything else. I think that it knows what I want without me realizing that I have a subconscious pattern of behavior. And I see it because I'm looking at my homepage and I'm journaling my viewing behavior now to understand what it's seeing in me.
Yeah, and that's what's really fascinating too, Roberto. Is like most people, they'll see a video and they're like, why? I'm not subscribed to that. Why am I even seeing that on my homepage? But you click on it and you're like, where's this video been on my whole life? You know? And it's that prediction that's there. So in the book, this is something that I really wanted to do and to cover. My thing is there's a lot of emphasis on algorithm and how that YouTube algorithms changed and so on and so forth. But I wanted to give the foundational elements of what the algorithm was when it was set up, and then how it shifted. So the part one of the book is about the platform. And we start with the history and understanding YouTube as the history, but then it's going from the history of the changes that it made to go where it is to today. And there was a shift in 2012 that a lot of people don't really give much relevance to. But that was the moment that the YouTube formula was created. And I want to make it very specific, because YouTube pre-2012 was the Wild West. Now,
and then it became watch time?
Then no. Now it's become predictable. And I want to explain that. And I took a very deep, thought into this and putting it into the book. So the book covers this in more detail. But YouTube does experiments all the time. And one of the experiments is what if we shifted to artificial intelligence making some of the decisions for us? And what if we would take a part of YouTube and do this massive test and see if it will improve? And YouTube gave them the thumbs up. It says, go ahead and do that. And this is the January of 2012. And it was a train wreck. It was a disaster. It literally took all this stuff and it just went down. And everybody's like, okay, I think we just lost our job. And it was going from there. So from January to about April, it was just going down at a horrible rate. However, this is the cool thing is YouTube made the recommendation of doing it 2 quarters and not 1 quarter. And they were just really looking at it and being very paranoid of what was actually happening. And then the moment of clarity hit, and it literally achieved everything that it needed to achieve and more. It was getting 3x than anticipation of keeping people on the platform longer and predicting what they wanted to watch. And what they didn't understand is how long the learning process of the AI needed to have before it had enough to predict properly. And then they did. And after that moment, it blew everything out of the water. They became the golden project on YouTube. And so much so that the parent company, Google, says, well, hey, your AI sucks, and we have a better AI called Google Brain. We want to introduce that. So they spent the rest of the year moving it from Google Brain into the YouTube world, and then making its own, make its own learning system. And that was introduced in 2013, which pretty much transformed YouTube as we know it, because now it was all based off of human feedback. And the AI, I know that you're saying watch time, but it actually went through looking at all different types of feedback, and they're still pulling those levers, but it's just really trying to get what people are wanting to react to. And that's where the shift happened. And that's where the YouTube formula was introduced to me, because I was able to be a part of it. I've been on YouTube since 2005. I was, getting channels to really explode, and there's different ways to do it. But that was really the essence, was content that connects to people will always win. And that right there was the indicator of, okay, this is never going to wait. It's not about algorithms. And I'd step on stage and teach at VidCon and VidSummit or whatever, and I'd give these things to look for, and I'd give data points. But it was really understanding that when content is received by people, and when it's received in a positive way, and that will always succeed. And sometimes you might have these dumb little pieces of content that just take off for some random reason, but there's a reason why. We just don't see it because we can't gather that data like the AI can. And the longer that the AI operates and is getting feedback, which is data points, then it's able to really understand us even more. And when we're able to facilitate more, like you were doing within a survey, that gives more data points to really make an amazing experience for the viewer.
I love that. Then that notion, that content that connects with people will always win, because remember, every data point, every piece of data that we collect, every view, every scrap of watch time is all generated by people. It's all generated by people. So again, people are trying to beat the algorithm instead of trying to serve an audience. And I think that that's the biggest mistake people make on YouTube today.
Yeah, it really is. And so my whole thing with the book in part one is understanding YouTube's patterns, and YouTube as a company, and then also the YouTube as a platform. But that was that pivotal moment. And that's when I shifted into really understanding the ecosystem of YouTube and why they make certain decisions and what the decision-making process is for the viewer. Because you have the viewer, you have the advertiser, you have the creator. That's the dynamic of YouTube. And I deep dive in all those, and they're trying to keep everyone happy on every level. But the one that they're actually the most sensitive to is the advertiser and the viewer, not so much the creator. They're coming back at times, and it just depends on where they're at. But it's getting people satisfied on the platform that will actually get the advertisers to bring in money. So it's that dynamic, but you need the creators to create the content. And, they've been on that platform, for a very long time. They understand that. So that's why I wrote part one. I don't believe part one will be irrelevant in a year or 2 years or 3 years, because
I love that.
It's the history of YouTube, and we can learn from history. And once you understand the methodology behind something, they're not going to go back and change the methodology, Roberto. They're not. Like they already have that foundational set. And once that was proven in 2012, then in 2013 it was cemented in as the foundation of where they're going. Now, they might tweak levers back and forth, but at the end of the day, the algorithm, well, let me rephrase that. The AI will just follow the viewer. Whatever the viewer is, whatever the viewer's engaged with, it will do. Now, they might tweak it a little bit here or there, but it will follow that viewer completely down the road.
I can tell you that that's true. Like if I literally just even pull up in my phone right now and I go to my YouTube homepage in my phone, immediately It knows, and it knows what I care about. Like the new bubbles that sit at the top of YouTube, it says, here's what Roberto cares about: live streams, podcast, stocks, Star Wars, lo-fi, anime, photography, real estate, Gary Vaynerchuk, Dragon Ball. Yeah,
well, I don't know
it
where
knows.
that Gary
YouTube knows me. Huh? What's that?
Yeah, but you do that there, and you go to your TV if you have YouTube TV, and it will be different because it knows per device. On YouTube, on your mobile, you might engage there, but on TV, it's a different platform.
It also knows what I like in the morning versus in the evening. I started testing that.
Exactly. So that's the essence of the reason why I wrote part 1 of the book, is because I think creators really need to understand the foundation of what was the platform, why the platform was created, and the decisions that were made up to this point, because it gives you relevance of how you create content. And I think that there's been a couple comments that came in here that, hey, YouTube's always biased, and they do have their bias. And let's just
human beings are biased.
Exactly. Let's just open that up and just celebrate that. And one of the things is one of the smartest people on the planet. His name's CeeLo.
Yes.
He's a data scientist. He got up at VidSummit, and I gave him a portion of my presentation for the keynote because I value his content, and he's helping in the Beastverse and stuff like that too. And he gets up there and he goes, if you swear, you make less money.
Yes, I remember. I was
everybody's
there.
Like, what? What's going on?
I was there.
And then he threw the data point up, and he goes, let me just prove to you right now.
8 times less.
It's like the 8 times less. And it's just like, okay, it's your choice. You could continue to swear all you want, but if you want to make 8 times more money.
My own clients, yep.
Yeah, and I had people come up to me, and this kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because I'm very protective of my speakers at VidSummit. They're like, you need to get him like Toastmasters or something. He's like the most awkward presenter I've ever seen. I go, did you not hear what he was saying? He was like giving like internet gold. Like if you would just hear the words that he has. Yeah, his style of presentations there. English is his second language. But his information was perfect of what you needed to do to succeed. And you're willing that he's not inspiring you like a Gary V.
Vaynerchuk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You need to take a step back. But the point that I'm getting at, YouTube has its biases, and they'll continue to have it. If you can be in harmony with where their objectives are, and be tolerant of that, then you're going to be able to be in harmony, and there's nothing keeping you back.
I agree with that 100% because I think it's true in every career. You cannot go into any Fortune 500 company in America and not know that they have some kind of implicit bias or some internal culture. And if you want to climb to the top and you want that 7-figure salary, you're going to play the game and you're not going to whine about it. If you want to be an athlete in the, that, hey, there's things you're gonna have to do. If you decide to go into the music industry, that it's the mob and everything like that. They're gonna offer me a deal I can't refuse. That's right. They're gonna join the family. It is what it is.
Well, and I look at it as they have their objectives and they're going to achieve what they needed to do, but it's that ecosystem that they're really protective of.
Yes.
And with the adpocalypse and everything that happens there, they're very protective of the money coming in, because if the money doesn't come in, they can't pay creators.
Exactly.
And if the creators don't make money, then they're not going to make videos. That's just the dynamic. And if
that's the way it is.
It is. It's just there. And look, I've been on the receiving end of some bad decisions that YouTube made, and I've been very vocal about that.
Same.
And my whole thing is, you have to look at how big the organization is and why they're making some of the decisions that are there. And when you realize, you just put all your eggs in one basket, that's one of the most ridiculous things you can do. You need to be able to diversify. And I know you, out of all the creators, have been saying that for years.
Thank you. Yes, I believe it and I live it. I believe it and I live it. You and I both know that.
That's why I have a Facebook cup right here that I'm drinking out of a Facebook cup.
Oh,
it's got to diversify.
I moved I've been getting some of my clients. I've been getting some of my clients who have evergreen content, really good evergreen content, to start moving their content, their back catalog over to Facebook and not worry about whether it's going to take a view from YouTube, because that's a ridiculous notion. Yeah. And they're like, oh, thank God, Roberto. Like, I literally have this entirely new revenue stream for no reason with high CPM rates and no competition. Thank you, Roberto. I had people who I was like, undelete Facebook, post all 500 of the back catalog there, 3 videos a day, call me up in 2 months and tell me how awesome I am. And they're like, hey, Roberto, let me show you what's in the bank account now. Thank you. And I'm like, yeah, where's my cut? Where's my cut? But no, I agree with you 100%. Diversify your platforms. Don't be beholden to the platforms. Don't be beholden to anything. Diversify the revenue streams. Look at expansion areas. Yes, what you focus on is what will grow the most, but then look at another means of taking that thing and getting even more mileage out of it. And again, it could be as simple as uploading your back catalog to Facebook or TikTok or anywhere else.
Yep. I agree.
Derral, like, I want to have you run down a few more things we can expect in the YouTube formula, because I really want people to pre-order this book and everything. We have 500 live viewers right now, and I think we need to see 500 pre-orders, because there's no reason that you should not be about this book right now. But can you tease us with, like, without giving everything away, can you tease us with a little bit more of like what's in there and the outline? And then we'll go to Q&A, and then we'll go to some Q&A, because I know we have some people that would love to pick your brain for a minute. But yeah, could you do that for me?
For sure. So the book is a thicker book. I think it's like 359 pages or something like that. And so I talked about part one. It's a 3-part book. Part one is understanding the platform, the history of YouTube, and the history of decisions, and then also the AI, and then the algorithms with an S. Then part two is the opportunity, because I think this is where most people don't see it. So they view that ad revenue is the true opportunity of YouTube, and I want to just dispel that completely, because ad revenue is just a drop in the bucket when you actually leverage it the right way. And so I spend a lot of time, and one of the things I did in the book was, and this is really important for me, that anyone that knows me is I'm obsessed with case study. I don't think that you can make a claim unless you have a case study to back it up. And so for me, to do a case study of the projects that I do isn't necessarily worthy of doing it in the book, because it's like, oh yeah, you can do it because you understand a lot more than that. So I decided that I would take my students and teach them the formula and see their results, and then showcase their results in the book itself. And that would be the opportunity that you're able to see. So those are seeing results of my students. Yes, they have a lot more in depth because they've had time to work with me one-on-one. And that's really, really important. But they were able to execute on those principles that I'm teaching from there. The one that I really love is I met, and this, I haven't given this example before, but I met this this couple in Washington, D.C., and I was doing a meetup, and they came over, and they're like, hey, we're just trying to go full time on YouTube, and let me take a look at your channel. And I just did a presentation. I'm like, sure, I got time. So I took a look at their channel, and I saw a specific trend, and I saw, because I've been able to do this a lot, and I saw an opportunity, and I turned to him. I says, hey, if you'll do this and make these 5 videos, you're going to turn your channel around, and you're going to be able to go full time. Well, the cool thing about it was immediately they were able to do those videos. Their channel exploded. They were about 300,000 subscribers at that time. I think they're at 1.8 million now. But they made the changes, and they were smart to learn the things that they needed to do. And it just took off, and they were able to celebrate who was watching the content, because they were just more worried about the content instead of the people watching the content. But the true opportunity came from just owning who they are on YouTube. And I told them that when they do it, when they celebrate it, that they'll actually make more money than ad revenue. And my most exciting moment for them, outside of them getting married and having a beautiful child, is this moment, which is they were able to get one brand deal that paid more money than both of their jobs combined for a year. Okay. And they were able to do that brand deal in about 32 minutes. And it took maybe a half a day of correlation back and forth with the brand. And when you think about that for a second, that's that true power of what they're able to do. And it dwarfed everything that they were doing in ad revenue. And I mentioned that because they'd go to their bank account and turn to each other. Is this real?
Right?
Is this really what's going on? And, it's been a blessing in their life. And, so I showcased that example. And when I was talking to them just recently, and with all the stuff that's in the world, and they just thank me again. They go, I cannot believe the power of YouTube, and thank you so much for opening up. I'm like, hey, it wasn't me. I just showed you a small path that you had to take the action. You took the action to get where you needed to be. And that's where it became really interesting because, you know, they couldn't imagine trying to be furloughed and have a kid and not, you know, have that instability, and now they have stability. So
I love that you shared that story. And I think that's what a lot of people in the chat, a lot of people here are watching, people watching the replay, they aspire to. And that's one of the reasons, like, you know, it's meant the world to me to be able to wake up every day and know that I'm doing things that I enjoy and that I'm passionate about, that serve people, and that I'm not making compromises for somebody else's benefit and to make somebody else ultimately wealthy at my expense or at the expense of my values. Having that freedom is important, and we can create that freedom for ourselves, but we have to also be willing to humble ourselves and understand what it is we're doing has to align with the audience that we're serving. And we can't be, while it's important for yourself to be in there and to own who you are, you can't be self-indulgent about it. You can't have an ego about it. You have to let that go. And ultimately, you have to embrace some kind of idea of a larger vision for your life. I believe that anyway.
Yeah, no, I do too. And look, there's a lot of money to be made on it. And yes, it is the dream, but it's like any other thing. If you do not treat this as a business, it's not going to be around for a very long time. And
Agreed.
One of the most important reasons why I did part 2 of the book was because I've been on YouTube since 2005, and I have people that would only build off of their fame and their videos, and they weren't treating it as a business. And then they'd get to a moment where they'd call me up, and these are OG YouTubers, and they're like, dude, like, we can't do anything. And I go, man, you had all this opportunity. You didn't even hire anybody. You didn't even treat this there. Well, no, we were just riding the wave, you know? I go, yeah, the wave's coming on now, man. You know, I mean, I can help you, you know, but it's not going to be as easy as it was before because you didn't treat it as a business and really look and leverage it the right way, where you're getting other things, you know, other opportunities that bring in income that can really subsidize what you need to do. And I look at some of the creators right now, and there's no exaggeration. People are bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars a year in this industry, and the reason why is they're treating it as a business and a business opportunity. So instead of doing a brand deal, they're taking equity into some of these companies. You know,
I thought I heard that the creator economy right now was something like some crazy number, like I think it was like $11.7 billion or something like that. I'd have to ask Colin Samir because I think they covered it or they got that number. Yeah. But like, I know it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, though, for sure.
I will agree with Gary Vee on this. I think creators like Eric and MrBeast and a few others will actually leverage a company to become $1 trillion company.
Agreed.
Wherever the audience goes, that's where the people are going to go. And if it's in line with that,
people think that's yeah, people would think that that's an exaggeration, but you and I both know that it's a matter of math, Derral, and the math is there, the data is there, because I think to do $1 billion, you would have to serve 1 million people and create $1,000 in value for them at some point in time. Yep. So that's $1 billion. Well, I mean,
yeah, but that's not really that hard.
I know. That's what I like when I realized the math. I'm like, okay, 1 million people. Well, now that we have these platforms, you can scale.
That's what I do with it. That's what I do with creators. I had a student come in and like, you know, I want 1 million subscribers. I go, why do you want 1 million subscribers? Well, I want to make $1 million a year. Like, well, let's focus in on making $1 million a year, and that can be a byproduct because
create $1,000 in value.
$1,000 of value for 1,000 people, that's $1 million a year. So let's just get that out of your head. And once they're able to do that, I mean, they're pulling in about 20 million a year right now. And it's just like, okay, they cracked that nut, you know? And that's the whole thing is if you treat it, but you have to build it. You can't like get it out of your head. You can't do it by yourself. Yeah. You have to have other people involved. That's why it's a business. And now you might have strategic partnerships and you might have independent contractors, but it's a business. So
yes, absolutely. I mean, Peter McKinnon like is a genius in so many ways. People don't realize the diversity of the business model that he has. I don't think people even fully appreciate the diversity of the business model that MrBeast has, and the fact that you guys have kind of moved even away from as many brand deals because you wanted to retain creative control, the integrity of the brand. So you guys have moved to building your own sub brands and businesses within the MrBeast universe.
Well, let's just make it very clear. Jimmy loves watch time and retention, and he like even if it's $700, $800, $900,000 that they'll pay him, he'll say, "No, I'd rather have a higher retention rate than to get people to kick off." And so let's just make that clear. And so the only way to do that, to compensate for that, is become your own brand deal. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So becoming your own brand deal, I love that notion and everything like that. I've been thinking about, like, in my opinion, and people don't agree with me on this, in my mind, in theory, every video is sponsored because it's either sponsored by you or sponsored by somebody else.
Right. Now, whether you click, it's like paid promotion in the video or not, that's true. But
yeah.
But look, that's the reason why I did part 2, and I actually showcase some mind-blowing examples. And I've been in the case before, and I think everyone's thinking, "Oh, merch. It's fine. Merch is great, but that's a drop in the bucket too." I just want everyone to realize the ad revenue and your merch strategy drop in the bucket. Where it is become interesting is when you're able to leverage it in a way that will live on its own. And let me give you an example. And this is an example I used on another live stream just recently, but it's just a really good example. But a channel that started to explode on YouTube, made a ton of revenue. And the difference would be is if you were to equate when they actually had a product that they created that has its own IP, that means we went out and got a trademark attorney to get it. We white labeled it with someone that does the distribution and fulfillment. We brought it in. The crazy thing about it is, since November 23rd, they did more money in just a couple weeks than the whole channel did all year.
Through white label drop shipping?
Well, white labeled in the sense of we found the product we wanted. We manufactured it to be on brand with us. Okay,
yeah. Okay, so that's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah. But that itself was, now we're providing value and people are supporting us because it's in line with the product. And, you're able to, in a few weeks, to make more money than you did all year. And the cool thing about it is where it's its own entity, its own setup, it's easy for someone to acquire. And I share quite a few of those examples in the in the book in part 2, because what people look for to acquire businesses is there's no clue. Like, I wouldn't collude it with another business. Like, I just have it be its own business. So it's easy. It has its own books. It's really easy to acquire. And then you build it up where all people care about is visibility and sales. And so if you you can predict visibility and sales, and you can do that consistently for a period of time, then it's deemed worthy to buy. And some people are, and this is no exaggeration, people are buying stuff, hundreds of millions of dollars, because they have the predictability of a good brand with sales that's been leveraged by a YouTube creator. And I want everyone to know, and I can't divulge this because it's NDA, but there is a creator that owns the big percentage of Orbeez. Think about that for a second. How many people bought Orbeez over the course of every YouTube trend? And they actually started trends that would get other creators that were going. And they've made hundreds of millions of dollars on that when they don't even make near that as a creator.
You just gave me... Okay, so now, like, in a couple of years, guys, when I'm making my How I Became a Millionaire video, I want you to remember this conversation I had with Derral, because, and Derral, your check will be in the mail. Not that you need it at this point, but like, but you literally just blew my mind with something, because I've already, I'm already about this IP, build IP, but the idea of combining the fact that you can popularize a trend that would then create multiple streams of virality that ultimately dovetails back to a IP.
Yeah, and imagine doing brand deals with the right type of creators, and they're doing a brand deal for you, and it's a very interesting process. So that,
Yes.
like we showcase a couple of those in part two, and that's why it becomes valuable, is because it's going to give you ideas of things that you haven't considered before, and I think that's the difference between me and other books that are out there. I think there's other books that are really relevant for what it is. And mine is, hey, I understand business. I understand creators. And I wanted to make a book for both people and both types of audiences, because I think there's very synergistic ways to do it. Whether the creator creates their own brands to become that own brand, or brands leverage creators, or even become their own creators to elevate their brand. And so I wanted to give those opportunities in the book as well.
I like the idea of companies elevating people to be in-house creators, and to be in-house influencers. I believe in that. I've advocated for that for a couple of brands and a couple of companies because I think it's the future.
Well, let's just get it all laid out. There's never been a brand like GoPro. And they've leveraged it really organically. And if you as a brand, they don't have one individual creator, but it's cool because they have their own channel that they feature really cool moments, and they're acquiring those videos to be had. And you can see some of the most extreme things, and all it is an ad. It's an ad, like, you got to get a GoPro. Look what it can do. And I think what you need to do is like really look at whether it's creating people to speak about your product or service and enabling those ambassadors or internal ambassadors or creators. That's great, but sometimes it's that mechanism where your product does that creation for it. You just need to create that tonality behind that. And I've been a part of some of the biggest campaigns, and I do allude to a lot of them and give a little detail in the book as well. Some stuff that I never normally don't talk about.
No, absolutely. I love that so much. So, guys, I really would love for you to do some Q&A, if you don't mind, Derral, with the audience here as we wrap up. And we
could I do part 3 of the book before we do that? Just so
we
that
absolutely can. We absolutely can.
Because I'm long-winded. And guess what?
Me too.
Exactly. That's why we're two peas in a pod. So part 3 of the book is the essence of the book. It's the name of the book, which is the YouTube formula. And to give it a short explanation of what it is
take your time.
It's basically the human formula. Okay, how humans respond. And once you understand how humans respond and what you're supposed to look at, what you're supposed to analyze, then you'll have context of, oh, that makes sense from part 1, and you'll leverage that to part 2, which is the opportunity. So this is kind of winding up the book itself. It's the biggest portion of the book. But we talk about the psychology, the demographics, what they do online, offline, understanding that target viewer, what they actually will respond to, why they're coming onto YouTube, what really disconnects them from content. And we deep dive into that. And I can tell you that's what will make the book evergreen, is because that's never going to change. I am a student of people, and I have been. And I kind of explain why things happen and where you should be gauging and connecting with. And you'll see creators that come up that hit everything because they understand people, how they respond online, because they've been responding at a very early age, and they've been a student of those things, even though that they didn't know that they were a student. I had a consult not too long ago where this lady wanted to get a younger audience, and I gave her an idea, and she says, that's exactly what my daughter says. I says, okay, what you need to do now is go get all the advice from your daughter, or every advice that she gets, stop doing what you're doing and do exactly what your daughter's saying. And she just did a list of all those things. Oh yeah, my daughter said that. My daughter said that. I'm like, that's what you need to do. You need to listen to your audience. And she's your audience. And the more that you can have that understanding, then you're going to be able to go over and get more than what you're currently having, because you understand your audience, because you're a boomer and she's Gen Z. And once you have that connection between the two, that's where you can have that new group that's actually coming up and understanding the psychology behind that as well.
I agree. And the thing is, I think that what's been said multiple times, and I believe it to be true, is the creators who understand their audience the best will win. They will be successful on a long enough timeline. That will inevitably be true.
But let's not say just creators, brands too. Like
Brands
brands
too.
and understand their audience, understand the customers will win, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's
Cult of Apple.
exactly. Oh my gosh. Like I actually get into that pretty heavily because there's a lot to learn and I'm a part of that cult for sure. But anyway, that's kind of the essence of the book. And the last chapter is my favorite chapter. It actually sums it up from the first chapter because the first chapter is YouTube's basically did a pattern of, plan, execute, analyze, and adjust. And the analyzing and adjusting phase is made what YouTube is today. And the last chapter is a family that I helped, and I helped from day one. And they made a lot of blunders along the way, and they made a lot of mistakes. But it was that analyzing and adjusting that made them into what they're at. I mean, they're well over 7 million, subscribers. It's changed their lifestyle in every aspect of their life. And it all came back down to never giving up and just looking at the data and adjusting that data. So I share their story because then it becomes more relevant of they were hit by YouTube in so many different ways and were on the radar and, had to take a step back and realize, do we give up now or do we adjust? And I think it's very inspirational. And I think that is the essence of the book is I want people to be inspired but also have the knowledge of what to look for to analyze. And I think that that's done a great job. So
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this myself. What would you say before we go into Q&A were probably 3 of the biggest mistakes this family were making on YouTube that had to be adapted or adjusted for?
They were trying to be someone that they're not. That was mistake number 1. So you got to be who you are is key. You can't be this facade or it's always disconnected. It's unauthentic. The next thing is always looking on the other side of the fence of trying to become something that someone else is. So even when you're having success, that you saw, oh, they're doing this, I need to do that, and that deviates to that first initial problem. And then I would look at is, and this is probably the biggest thing, is not listening to your audience and seeing where your audience is and making decisions based off of what you think is best instead of understanding, hey, you're there to provide value and here you have a really core audience. If you leave that, then you have to build a new core audience. And so those are very, very big things. And there's a lot of other ones that go way in depth on, but I think those are the most important thing is be passionate about what you are and accept who you are and really just establish value around that, and it will attract people because there's people out there that will connect. And you will find your people, you will find your tribe, you'll find your community, or they will find you, and you might create that along the way. So
I love it. So first question, Derral, is from RB The Breakthrough. Derral and Roberto, I have a 328K MBA channel, the goal of 1 million subscribers. I pre-ordered YouTube Formula. Outside of that, what would you recommend? YouTube Formula book versus consultation? I'm going to say start with the book, but Derral, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So first off, I didn't even get to the question. I saw your channel. So I hope you're partnered up with the NBA so that, I don't even know what your NBA channel's about. But if you have the licensing, I know they can take a percentage of your ad revenue, and then it makes your job a lot easier. I would try to be more synergistic with the NBA as much as possible. They can get you access that you couldn't have before. This is if there's one group of people that are more open to have creators comment on it, it's the NBA. I've worked with a lot of different channels that are really crushing it. The YouTube Formula is going to give you a lot of ideas. I personally believe that, that is a standalone and you'll learn it at your own pace. I actually have an option where I take 12 weeks and I take a group of students through it. It's called Channel Jumpstart. You can find it at channeljumpstart.com. It is application only. We do turn down 90% of the people that apply. We're only taking in a certain amount of students that I work with 12 weeks. And those are the students that we actually did as case studies in the YouTube Formula, along with some of the other stuff that I've done in my program. So that's what I would do. You could do the book or a consultation. I'll be completely transparent. It will lead you to the funnel to eventually get to Channel Jumpstart. Like either one of
Yeah.
them. I have a mini course in the book that will lead you to Channel Jumpstart. Consultation will lead you to Channel Jumpstart, or you can just go to channeljumpstart.com.
Yeah. And again, I can't, like, if you haven't gotten tremendous value out of just even this live stream or all of Derral's free content, or if you even go and you go to vidsummit.com and you order the replays of previous speaking engagements from people like myself, Peter McKinnon, MrBeast, you'll see the value. And so you can make an informed decision. There's no way, in my mind, there's no way at this point when it comes to consulting and coaching to not make an informed decision and to choose what is the best option for you and your learning style. We have so much content and so many access points. If you get value from the book, then you know that, coaching might be an option for you. If you get value from all the free content, if any of it works for you, then you know that this is something that might fit.
Well, but MBA is about coaching. Like they have coaching and they
Straight
have
up.
different coaches for different things. And so let me tell you what floats my boat, just so that you understand. If you don't have the drive to win, don't even apply. Like I literally don't want to waste my time. I want people that want to be obsessed with goals. That's why the first week in Channel Jumpstart, we focus just on goal setting. Like this is the freaking book that we have that they go through it. And
I love it.
this,
I love it
this
so
is
much.
this is no exaggeration. This section, all this right here, is dealing with goal setting and also understanding the viewer. Like this, like it's more than half the freaking book.
That's like the manual I have for like building a multiple 7-figure business. The manual that I got from a conference that I spoke at, it's just like that.
Yeah. No, and that for me, and when you see, when you look at my life and my history, and you see why I make decisions, like I had a goal. I'm going to share this because I think it's really important for everyone too, and I think this is probably one of the most valuable things I can share on the stream. But every July, I take time and I really reflect on what I want, where I want to be. Where I want to be in business, where I want to be in my personal relationships, where I want to be spiritually, where I want to be in the community, where I want to be, in business. And I start writing those down and I start setting goals. And you might, okay, well, that's great for July, right? Well, the difference is I try to go through the process, and I teach this process in Channel Jumpstart, of creating a SMART goal. And it has certain things that are there, but also an action plan too. Because like if you have a goal without a plan, it's just going to be a delayed goal.
Yeah, or it's
Until
just
you have
gonna
a
be it's gonna be a fantasy. That's what it's gonna
Yeah.
be.
Well, I think it can come to reality. It just depends on the goal itself. But so anyway, the plan itself is what I start really refining, and I go through all the obstacles, I go through all the challenges, and I do that for 6 freaking months. So from July to January, that's what I do. And it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. And I've scrapped goals that I've set in July, and I kind of refine them as I go there. So it gives me time not to be impulsive, but I'm actually being methodical of where I want to be. And then come January 1st, guess what happens, Roberto? Those goals become relevant. And I want to tell you, it's my 3-year goal that I focus in on. It's all I focus in on is what I'm doing the next 3 years. And what happens if I've done this enough, then that 3-year goal becomes activated January 1st. I've given 6 months of my life really wondering and pondering and praying about where I want to be. And then guess what happens? Those 3-year goals become 2-year goals. 2-year goals becomes 1-year goals. 1-year goals becomes 6-month goals. 6-month goals becomes my now things that I'm doing here right now. One of the goals that I had is I wanted to write a book. Okay. And it was last year, last December, I was just got back from Indonesia, and I was heading on a Christmas vacation with my family. We usually take December off and just kind of reset, recharge. And I was about to go out the door. We were flying and staying in Hawaii for a couple months. And I decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to totally relax. And I get this weird email coming in. It says, hey, would you ever consider writing a book? Well, the book that I was supposed to write was basically the 1-year goal started in January, and this was like the 18th of December, and I'm like, this is serendipitous, right? So I respond back and says, here's my outline, because my goal was to write a book that year, which was last year. And I sent him the outline. They says, "This is brilliant. We love it. This is great. Would you sign this contract?" And so I got a really big publisher coming into it, and it
Wiley,
worked
I
out.
believe.
Yeah, Wiley, and it worked out really, really good. And then it was like, okay, is there some refinement? And I did analyze it quite a bit, and I adjusted quite a bit, and it worked. But the goal setting is really important because you have to put that out in the world. I already had a plan to self-publish. I wasn't planning on hitting a publisher. It just became in my ecosystem, my universe, because I believe I put it out there and it became synergistic with someone else. And they mentioned why they wanted to be with me is because I'm more technical and they're more of a technical publishing type of company.
Yes.
And that's what I loved. And I got super technical. And they've been great up to this point. And, I thought it was very synergistic of what I'm wanting to do. So.
Excellent. Urban Explorer asks, Roberto, what size do you think you should start looking for brand deals and sponsors? I've always felt 10K, but that's just my own feelings. Do you guys have any thoughts on channel size? I think you could do it from day zero, but I like doing it around that 10K because I feel that at that point you have a better understanding of your audience, how to create value, the identity of your content. Now, if you're very business savvy and thoughtful, then you could make something that could work from day zero. But what are your thoughts on that, Derral?
Okay, I just share a story is all I do. So I had some people reach out to me and says, "Hey, we love what you're doing. We love what you did with this person. They recommended you. Could you create a plan for our YouTube channel?" And I says, "Yes." I went into their content. I says, "Well, your content would be better on Facebook and Instagram than YouTube, just based off of the demographic of it. And we can still do a YouTube channel." And so we created a concept and we went through the process of developing what it looked like. So this is something that, like people do teasers or whatever. We actually want to do conceptuals, and I do conceptuals all the time. And then I says, "Okay, go shop it." And so they went out and shopped it. They had what they were going to do, which was they were going to remodel a house and then give it away to whoever's engaged in it. I mean, that's kind of brilliant, right? They had zero following. They got $1.2 million as a brand deal to come in and to be the key sponsor of it. And then every episode they would use products, and it then ended up being about $4.2 million of sponsorship with zero following. They just had a right idea, and they were able to convince someone of a big nature to back them. And it was Home Depot, and it was game over after that, And Home Depot wanted them to succeed, and so they started building the audience. And the providers thought, "Oh, this is by Home Depot. We love our stuff in Home Depot. This will help sales." That was an easy integration for it. So And Neil, I know your channel. You can go right now. You don't even need to wait. You need to go right now and do it, and think of what's the easiest way to integrate. And one of the most disruptive creators that I've seen in the last couple years just started his YouTube channel just about a year ago. Just a year ago, a month or two. Eric. And he's been doing brand deals from day one, man.
Exactly.
Like, seriously. And it's already in his content. It's just selling that your mission's in line with theirs. That's all brands care about, right? The reach is secondary. They just want someone speaking their voice and going from it in a very positive way. And so that's something that you can do immediately. I don't think you need to wait to 10,000 subscribers. And I don't want anyone waiting when they could take action now. So even though I do agree with you, it would be great for you to understand, but I would just say, understand what your content is and what you're trying to do, and then you can go out and find an appropriate sponsor for it.
No, I agree with that 100%. I think there's like one or two people in the audience who think I'm contradicting you or that I just like being contrarian. I just like being thoughtful and like also offering that, hey,
right,
there's always more than one perspective. Me and Derral know that there's more than one perspective. Sometimes we give something and it feels like an absolute because of brevity or time or format, but every creator is different. So there's going to be something that works for some people that don't work for others, which is also why people compare and get discouraged. So just kind of understand what we're saying.
Yeah, but I 100% believe that if you go with the plan to have that integration immediately, you'll come up with the right idea. And I think that putting that out there and as a goal, you'll go find it, whether it's an integrated brand deal that is an affiliate program or something, but you'll be able to get that and then show some relevance. Because at the end of the day, what brands want to see is it going to reflect positively upon what their mission is? Okay, you got to understand what their mission is. Like if you understand, It's not just sales too. You like get that completely out of your head now. They have a branding image that they'll spend more money.
Reputation.
They'll spend more money in that than they will be worried about sales.
1,000%.
So if you're in line with that, I've seen creators just crush it there, and you think, oh, they're just selling out. Well, no, this is a business. Let's get over that already.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we got to grow up and we got to get past that idea of, sell out, blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, people don't even know what that word means. Yeah. You have to be in line with your values. You don't always have to. So like people use the word sell out when someone does something they don't like.
Well, and I covered it in the book because it was a viewer methodology is, hey, you got to be standalone. Like the sellout actually started in 2010 and 11 when YouTube was introducing the partner program. And is like, oh, you're selling out because YouTube's like doing this.
I remember that.
But there's the nature of it. We're past that point. People already know that you can watch YouTube ads before YouTube videos, unless you do premium, right? And it's just like that's already ingrained into it. And so they already understand that. Same with brand deals. Like we're already past that point. We don't even need to think that way. So get that out of your head.
Same thing with selling merchandise, selling directly to the audience, selling a product.
Exactly.
Agree. Just one more thing before we get to T's question. Do you remember the quote unquote the good old days that everyone says were so easy and everything? And you remember when we would get crap if we ran ads before we even had 5 or 10K? Like if we like you haven't earned it. How dare you? Like this is that was the good old days. Remember that?
But let's look at it completely. That's why we need to understand the ecosystem. But people are past that now. And we need to realize that the viewing behavior, I would get the most frustrated when I had to watch an ad and what I clicked on wasn't necessarily what they promised. You know what I'm saying? So let's get that clear. So
agreed. T has a question. What's going on, Roberto and Derral? What would be the first steps for someone to treat their channel / brand more like a business that hasn't before? Thanks. I love this. Derral?
Yeah, so I look at opportunities, right? So your time is money, and I want you to view that as money. And one of the things that I look at is everything that you do, could there be someone else that does that at a less inexpensive rate of what your time's worth? So you got to figure out what your time's worth, because sometimes you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing. I view it that way. Now, you might not be making the ad revenue or money income that's coming in that you can afford to hire someone to help out. But you can get someone to come in, for a couple $100 a month or whatever to help. So with some of those tasks that you can start somewhere. And then 2, you got to look at money opportunities and looking at it in a different vein. And it could be, maybe I need to be more a part of affiliates. Roberto talks a lot about that as well, affiliate programs, stuff like that. And look for those opportunities or create opportunities. One of the best examples of this is businesses are looking for amazing videos. And sometimes you don't necessarily need to do an integrated brand deal with them, but you can go produce a video for them and use the YouTube strategies that you've known. And it could be great voiceover. Jerry Rig Everything, if you look up Zach, he's done voiceover work for corporate videos.
And he gets royalty in addition to upfront money, he gets royalty for usage of that in perpetuity.
Exactly.
Passive income from royalties, baby. Yeah, I love it.
That's where it's at. And so I look at all the opportunities of what can you do to make the money, and then how you can actually leverage what you're doing more so. One of my biggest tips would be, and this goes for everyone, and Roberto will back this up, but finding companies that need an affiliate program. If you're the person that's providing the value and showing them the way and what to do, and you becoming that super affiliate, or that affiliate, and then you teach them the concept of super affiliate. And I've done this over my career, and I make a lot of money doing this, which is, hey, anyone that I bring on, I get a percentage of what they bring too. So not only do I get the stuff there, but anyone that I bring under this, I know it sounds like an MLM, but it's not.
No.
because it's just where it's at, you're just taking a cut and you become a super affiliate. And I've done that. And every month I get a lot of money just because stuff that I did 4 or 5, 6 years ago, and it just works. It works every single time. I can't imagine where I would be at today if I didn't have that, because that's just that passive income that just keeps on going.
My living expenses could be covered by my affiliate income.
Yep.
I literally, as far as to live, I don't have to do any additional work to live. I'm working for my dreams now instead of working for a living. And that's where you'd want to be.
And in the business of my main YouTube business, all my employees and my living expenses and everything that we do can be covered by affiliate or passive.
That's wonderful. That's that's what you want. That's what you want. Architectural Street Metal 101. Okay, interesting. How do I find avenues to better diversify my channel?
So I think the thing there is realizing who's your audience. So Architectural Street Metal 101. So I would assume that you're bending metal to be more in art, in
and like art installations and things like that. I would assume.
Yeah. That's like I would assume that. So the way I look at it is, there's people that love to see the end product, right? So here's a piece of metal that you make a creation. The experience of someone watching that is almost ASMR. They want to be able to see that process from beginning to end, and there's some satisfaction in that. And then two, there's another revenue of people that want really cool projects being done. So I would kind of go around that vein of looking just to see, because that's a very general audience that can be watched all around the world without words, because they're seeing the creation process happen in real time. And some of those are some of the most popular channels in the world, believe it or not. So.
I saw that with like a masonry channel that blew up. So yeah, I agree. I agree. Front Page Tech just wants to say that they love us. So thank you, John and Brian. Love. Indeed. Let's see. We have Matt's RE Reviews. Just hit 100K subscribers. I do RE reviews, and when I put the title as the year, make, and model, the video doesn't perform well. But when I put something like huge motorhome sleep 7, it performs really well. But then it doesn't SEO good. What would you do? I would ignore the SEO part, but that's me. Derral?
So first off, dude, congrats at getting 100K. That's an accomplishment on its own. Like congrats on that. That's really important. So I always look at data points. So the data point that you need to look at is the relevance of the metadata. And I'm taking a step back here. I'm going to get a little geeky on you, but then you'll understand the concept. So YouTube, when you first release a video, is looking at keywords in your title. Okay, that's the first place it's there. So having those keywords, that's where it will rank in search. And then as it's reinforced in the description, that's where it will give it more value. But as soon as YouTube has the data, you can go and search for things, and you have other videos pop up it doesn't even have that keyword in the title. YouTube's looking at other data, and it will always do that. So for me, I do love the titles that respond to humans, but also have the keywords in it. And so if you have those keywords, but it also responds to humans, that would be great. So huge motorhome sleep 7, ... and then you could give the title of the RV, or it could be in the first part of the description. I think it would be relevant because it's still showing up as that, and it can show up in search as well.
Excellent. I agree.
It's not COVID, I promise.
Let's see.
Whenever his buddy sneezes or coughs.
I know. That's the
COVID.
That's the new world. That's the new world. Let's see. We had another super chat here. Here it is. So, Emerald Empress Tarot. Hello, loving all these knowledge, always to the point in YouTube journey. At what point in the YouTube journey is it most effective to add live streaming in our channel repertoire or expand on related niches within the channel?
Yeah, so this is all dependent on your audience. Like if your audience would love it, that's great. I like to do a quarterly something on a channel, whether it's a give back to community or let the people see you differently, and then use it as a monetizing opportunity, like super chats, like Roberto's making money here. It's sponsored as well here, and that works. And there's a way to do that. And there you go, money, money, money. Um, and there's also ways that you can emphasize a product or something that you're doing uniquely because it's live. Now, the cool thing about it is you can always make that unlisted or private afterwards. Make it exclusive. I've seen creators do that all the time. I do it all the time. But you might want it to live on and breathe and be its own thing. And I think what I would do is just test it out. Just basically give it a test where you say, okay, this month I'm going to do it one a month for the next 3 months. You have 3 live streams now to have data points. Those data points, you have chat, you have comments, and then you can see how the audience responds. If they love it, they might give you ideas to do it more. But you are here to bring value to the audience, and if that value proposition is live, it's there. Now, let me be quite clear. I have been bullish on live streaming ever since live streaming has existed. Live streaming is a part of everything that I do, and the reason why is authenticity is what people want now, and there's not much more authenticity when you get an unpolished live stream.
Indeed. Back in the day, like when the mobile live streaming craze first started, you and me were practically daily.
Yep.
On multiple platforms, by the way. So we were daily. It was just a matter of which one are we on now? Are we on all of them? We were hitting Periscope, Instagram Lives, Blab when it existed, Meerkat when it was fighting with Periscope, Facebook Live when it came out. We were just hitting it. So yeah, 100% I agree. And like Derral was saying, you can't, live streaming is the purest form of authenticity in terms of content, like when it comes down to it at the end of the day, because it's the next best thing to being in person with you.
Yep. Love it.
We got Michael. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I started my YouTube journey in January. In 28 days, I have 55 views, 4 new subs, 17 in total, and 2.1% click-through rate. What should I focus on in the next month of YouTube?
Oh, I love this. This is, I will do. Okay, so I have a channel that is almost the exact starting time as you, okay? And I'm going to just tell you what I focus in on. So every year, this is something I just barely been start making public. I just never did before. But every year we start 2 brand new YouTube channels and we partner with 2. So one a quarter, we're focusing in on some type of channel, okay?
Whoops. Yeah,
and you're fine.
Meant to do that.
And so we just started a brand new YouTube channel at the beginning of the year. It's 28 days old. Now, our stats are a little bit different than yours. And we did that because we have the experience from there. And you're going to learn it because you bought the book and, you're going to go from there. But the very first video we put out, nature of the content was we were wanting to rank very highly in search. And that was our strategy. We wanted that because we knew that there was a volume of people that were searching for specific keywords that would show up. So if we did a really great job on getting a human title that would respond to humans, but really have a good keyword search and where it was placement and so on and so forth, we had a high probability of getting it ranked. And based off of our thumbnail, if we got that thumbnail just right, that it was intriguing, we would get a higher click-through rate. So we did release it, and please do not compare with what I'm saying, and I'm not talking down to you. Our click-through rate was 22%, and we were getting a lot of views through search. No surprise. Every single view that we had came from search. Now, what I didn't do was share it in a Facebook group. I didn't share it with anybody. I didn't go out there because all I wanted to do is get the people that were actually searching for that one video. Because that was my ideal viewer. I already knew it. They're searching for it. They wanted it. They wanted to be a part of it. I didn't know where in the world they'd be searching from it. I needed that data, but I wanted to be able to focus in on that. And I released it at the time of the day during the United States and Canada, just so that it would be more people sleeping around the world, that they would be more active in certain areas, and then YouTube would know, okay, it's geolocated in this area, so we can get the higher CPMs, okay? Now, keep in mind, The second video that was released, I wanted it to be the best video that I've ever made in the history of all mankind. Why? Because I would now include that as, in the card and an end screen element. And if I can get enough people to click on it, then it could be one of those suggested videos. And sure enough, that it wasn't geared for search. It was geared for getting recommended. And to this day, it is being recommended next to that main video because there's a high probability of crossover from there. But now, too, the third video was not a search video. The third video was I wanted it to be on homepage. And there's tactics and strategies to get it on homepage. And we were able to do that. And ultimately, that is our most viewed video. So in short, and our style for right now is we're releasing videos twice a week for 3 months, and then we're going to go to 1 week. So we want to build up our library and go from there. We're already at 1,200 subscribers, and I think we're a couple 100,000 video views. Now, this is not to discourage you. So what you need to do is start looking at your videos of where the traffic was coming from. You have 55 views, and so I would assume those might be from just ordinary people clicking on, are you sharing somewhere? Where I would focus in on is where people are going to watch it and where they're going to discover it. For me, I always start with search, but I don't dwell on search very long. I want more YouTube understanding suggestion because right now, where those hundreds of thousands of video views that are coming in right now for that channel is not from search. It's getting recommended on suggestion and also browse feature. That means that YouTube's identifying who would be the best people to watch it. And our retention level on our first video that we released, and this is where you can focus your time on, was 86% of the people that clicked on it finished it to complete end. They found value in it. And of the 86, they now had another video to watch. Think about that. Let that sink in a little bit. That's the reason why we take 6 months to really do analyzing or recon and research to really understand our audience.
Well said. And again, I would say that this is very similar to my own experiences with starting another channel that's a faceless channel, the music channel. And I'm seeing similar results. Not as good results as Derral, but I am seeing my traffic is targeting suggested and is coming from suggested with regard to that. So also understand and research the nature of the niche that you're in and kind of even really look to your own experience as a viewer. Chef PK says, can pivoting your content heavily impact your content due to your back catalog? I've grown from 50K to 170K since pivoting.
Look, your back catalog has data points. The data points that it has metadata points that connect the videos together because it'd be relational data, okay? And then it also has viewing patterns and behavior that has relationship content. And if you go back and look at MrBeast's first videos, he was doing Minecraft videos, and it was a gamer. He's pivoted a few times as he was able to get there. However, his audience was also interested in his new stuff, right? So his new content, you will not get any of his Minecraft videos. It doesn't matter how amazing it is on his main channel be recommended. It might recommend to his gaming channel, but those are different viewers. And so I definitely want you to understand that you can pivot. It just might take some time before you're able to really leverage the suggested views that can come from a back catalog.
Indeed. I feel the same way because I've pivoted my channel multiple times over the last 8 years and I've seen similar results. And so I agree. Ash with the $10 euro says, I want to start a YouTube coding channel, but I find it difficult to find my niche. Thinking of Twitch streaming to find what I like, or do you recommend another path?
No, I think Twitch is amazing. It's an amazing ecosystem. I spend a lot of time there. It's a different value proposition. Like people will sit on a 3-hour stream, no problem,
Yeah.
And the coding aspect, the things that I'd follow up is coding is that's a very general thing. So like, what are you coding? I like to see real-time coding where you can see the impact of what's happening. And there's a lot of coding software where you can create your own video games and have it happen. And so maybe in each live stream, you're able to code and have it react so people can see that surprise and delight. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Is it going to have errors? I mean, there's natural audience, human dilemma that's happening in it. Some of it might be more coding for things to happen in real life. Like you could code to have things happen in real time. That could be very interesting. Depending on the language that you're going after, the first thing that I would do is I would learn how to. This is where my mind goes. Sorry, I'm weird.
You're fine.
I'd try to code for any of the listening services like Siri, which my phone's going to go off, or Alexa and my thing's going to go there. Like if you can figure out that type of stuff, then you can do some really fun, weird experiments, and that's interesting for people to see.
Not to mention that from a utility standpoint, there are going to be more people and more jobs and more gigs around that and more people hiring specifically for that. So you'll have the value of being the resource channel in search, being the cool channel in that as well. And
any automation stuff. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
AI or automation. 100%. Right.
Oh yeah. That's the future of everything. It's like, it will eat everything. So I would go there now. Now.
Yeah. But you got to go where you're passionate. You might be more passionate in another area, which is fine. So
yeah, if that's the case, just in context, yes. I will say that anything that facilitates the ascension of our robot overlords is probably in your best interest. And just remember and remind them that you are part of the cause. That you are.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. Skytep be praised. Tap, what's up? I follow Roberto since day one at 50K subs and now 500K views every month. Congrats, that's baller. That's up there. Every month for the past year, but still learning here new things. Great advice here. Okay, so that's just really a thank you. Okay, cool. Appreciate that. We've got some more, and then we're gonna let Derral wrap up here so he can go ahead and finish his preparations for Super Bowl.
I will literally go as long as you need. So if we're good, if not,
okay.
Can add, so
we'll let the audience decide. We'll let Derral is exceedingly generous, as you guys have seen, with his time, his information, his advice. I mean, he literally could be doing anything else right now, including preparing for Super Bowl Sunday, but he's here with us and we are grateful.
My Super Bowl's YouTube.
There you go. Yeah. Facts. Harry Tornado. I've actually seen your stuff.
Dude, first off, that's the coolest.
I know, right?
What is that? What is that? That's awesome. Go ahead.
Exactly. Huge thanks to you, Roberto. Your channel has been a wealth of knowledge. I've grown my channel to 90,000 subs in a year and a half. Implementing year and a half implementing your tips. Don't give up, guys. Stay consistent. Thanks, man. Okay, so just encouragement for the community, and I'm all for it. Love that. I love seeing the success story. You know, Derral, if it wasn't for COVID, my plan last year was actually to literally do a grand tour. Sponsors were going to cover it, and I was literally going to go and find the success stories in my community, and was going to do this whole on the road spill and everything. It was going to be great, and the world ended, so I couldn't do it.
It got disrupted for sure.
Yeah. Yep. So, but you know what? Still made the most of it. Still crushed it, and we did some great things with the community, and it's been fantastic. So when a door closes, a window opens, as the saying goes. We had another one here. I think I just found it. Yep, I think this is it. David. So David Hunt says, just pre-ordered the book. Thank you, David. I have a channel that I'm thinking of transitioning to a music tutorial channel for playing by ear. Thoughts on how to grow?
So my whole thing with any channel is why are you doing content? So if music tutorial for channels playing by ear, I would assume that you're wanting to sell something to someone to buy. If that's the case, let me give you a couple scenarios, okay? Because if your goal is to end up selling and doing something, and you want to might do it organically or have like, you know, evergreen content that's going into your funnel, I always approach it differently than growing, you know, subscriber base. And that's why I spent quite a bit of time in part two of talking about the true opportunity. So for me, I would create a video ad. And this is not an ad to sell to get people to subscribe or to watch videos on your channel, but to sell your freaking product.
Yeah.
Right?
Or
And
the
so,
service if you're a music teacher.
Exactly. And that's where I would do as well. And then I would make sure that anyone that watched one of your videos of your tutorials, that they would see that ad. And you could do that for just a drop in the bucket amount of stuff. You're actually just getting the people that watch your videos that say, oh, if they ever watch my video, go play this ad on any video that it's shown. But the only specification would be is the dollar amount, and then also the how much you're willing to spend per the ad. And then also, you know, it's just to the people that have watched your videos. And if you can get them to take action, whether it's organically or paid, then you're achieving your goal, which is to make money on the back end. And I've seen people make more money on the back end that way, and they don't even need to have 1,000 subscribers. They just need to have people coming into that funnel, whether it's organic or paid, because it's going to be both ways. And it's just that reminder of wherever they go. And you can even set it up where it's not even a video ad. If they go on their favorite website of choice, it's with Google, and you can have a display ad. And like, man, I really want to learn music by ear because this is so super cool. I want to be able to do that. And boom, they go to your landing page. Landing page will take them to a checkout page. Checkout page will give you the best validation ever, is when they give you their credit card. And then you're going to be able to have someone that's interested in learning from you that have paid for it. That's a pretty big deal.
It absolutely is. And, you know, I think that that's some of the strongest advice you could give to anybody. And that applies to anybody that is in an education/teaching space or with any kind of really online business. If you think about it, you can apply exactly what Derral is saying here.
I gotta share one thing, because this is someone that I've worked on several projects. One of the smartest people in the world when it comes to video and audiences and people and ads is Jeffrey Harmon. And
Harmon Brothers, yeah.
Yeah. We worked. He was the founder of Harmon Brothers. We worked on several different projects, like even Squatty Potty Pooping Unicorn. We're both executive producers on it. His statement to me, we're doing split testing. He goes,
"How many billions of views?" Was that one?
I think 3 billion or something like that. But anyways, I turned to him and I says, Jeffrey, like, we got to do split testing. And he turns to me and he goes, I go, what's the best split test? Because here we had two different philosophies. This is our first big project that we were doing together on split testing. And he goes, Derral, let me just make it clear. The only split test is whoever, you know, gives us their credit card. That is the split test. If you can't get that, there's nothing else that's relevant. You know, it doesn't matter what the retention is. It's like the credit card swipes is the split test. Whoever has that higher amount. I'm like, okay, we're going to work just fine together, Jeffrey. Because it's a no-brainer, right? No-brainer. That's the way it is. So.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, if it is a business, then if it's not making dollars, it's not making sense.
Yep.
The end.
And
so,
pun intended.
And pun intended. Judo Sloth Gaming. I love this logo and I love this name, Judo Sloth Gaming. So thanks for the continued top-notch info, you guys. I group my content in analytics, primarily adding impressions, CTR metrics, whilst filtering with browse traffic. Okay, power user. What other key comparisons do you suggest for groups? Thank you. Okay, yeah. I know you're going to love this because almost no one uses the groups feature, and it's one of the most powerful things in analytics.
Yeah, I advanced mode is where I geek out, and like Judo Sloth, like he was part of my 30-day creator challenge, so I'm very familiar with what he's done. But in the analysis is the click-through rate is only one aspect, and click-through rate of the traffic source. So you're only doing a portion of what you need to look at. So that's the first thing that I need to do. You could look at, you know, how many of the people in those groups are being, you know, coming from subscribers. You know, are you gaining subscribers? How many are losing subscribers? You could analyze how many are. What's the CPMs like? You could do the average retention of the person per traffic source. So you can really deep dive into it. Like for me, I usually start with the click and the retention, so the AVD, AVP. And then I also look at average view per viewer. And those are my main area of focus. But then I drill down even further on, hey, is this bringing in subscribers? Is this retaining subscribers? Is it getting them to watch another video? That's where I deep dive into it. And I deep dive into it, I promise you. Don't we lose Roberto? We might have lost Roberto here on his own stream, but if I'm still live, that's great. But usually he'll interject. But so a couple things I think you can't overanalyze enough, but you got to take action. So regardless of what you're doing, you got to analyze that content in a group setting and gather a hypothesis and then test it. Test it out. Say, okay, I noticed that these are some commonalities that are happening here. Well, let's see if it's true. And you release it again. And if it's valid, you'll be able to see through the data. So
data-driven decisions. Data-driven decisions rule everything in this house.
Yep.
Let's see.
Hey, nobody share with Roberto what happened at all.
I've got the replay.
Do not make that happen.
I've got the replay.
I was going back to you and you were gone. So, but anyway, you had to do a little potty break probably.
Yes. Bio break. It's like, we'll be right back after these messages. Yeah. Like,
I love it.
Let's see. We've got, actually, let me just scroll real back to that. Cause
I like this question that just happened. Oh,
yeah. But real quick, I want to acknowledge Le Sweet Pea. Paris is somebody who actually, when in 2016, I did my YouTube channel reviews with our friends over at TubeBuddy, the best YouTube plugin, link down below, get the free trial of TubeBuddy. But Paris took my advice to heart, and within, I think, about a year and a half, she went from having 4,000 subscribers to about 80,000 subscribers. She's now the proud owner of a silver play button, is crushing it over in Twitch and in Instagram, and is actually going to come back and like revitalize her successful YouTube channel and make it even bigger and better this year.
I love it.
Yeah. And so we have so many great success stories in this community of people who, even in a year, I remember also Kimberlea was in the same suite of channel reviews I did with her and went from 4,000 to 80,000 in 8 months and is now, I think, at 250,000. Epos Box, Adam, like same deal. He's at almost 250,000 now and is one of the leaders in teaching streaming and live stream gaming in Twitch and so on and so forth. Right. You know, so like we have massive success stories to come from this community. And so if you're feeling discouraged, remember that some of these creators were under 1,000 subscribers for like 2 years. We're at 4,000 subscribers for like 4 or 5 years. And with small tweaks, as Derral likes to say, is small tweaks, just a little bit of insight, just a little bit of more thoughtfulness behind what will connect with the community, what will connect with a viewer in their content. And that changed everything.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good topic.
Yes, I love it.
So I just did a tweet on this. So there are two competing services right now. Clubhouse, which is really disruptive. It's only on iOS right now, but it's a way that you can have communications like this, but with audio. And you can bring people up on the stage and have conversations. It's really disruptive in the sense that it's very primal, because this is like how humans actually love to interact. They love to sit around the campfire and share stories or share knowledge, and they love to pass the stick of where people can take time and you can learn something and interact. This has been a part of human nature for quite some time. I think it's by far one of the most disruptive social media platforms that are out there. And there's a competitor out there that's called Stereo, does the same thing. And so I did a tweet. I says, what's going to win? You know, Clubhouse versus Stereo. Now, let me tell you.
Oh, and now Twitter Spaces.
Yeah, Twitter Spaces. I think Twitter's like, I won't even put them in the same league, because it's the essence of what's actually happening. Yes, it's happening and you'll have to do it, but it's not a part of the ecosystem yet. Yeah. It's like YouTube trying to do shorts, you know, and they can't even get it served out yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not TikTok. Right. It's not exactly. TikTok.
So at the end of the day, you have the two services. And what I said is, this is going to be an interesting case study, because you have an organic that is organic by nature. And I don't know the essence. I need to do a little research on, the decision makings of the style, but they did it from invite only. So, and I do love this because there's a lot of people when the first invite were of different cultural backgrounds, that it wasn't predominantly white. And I don't mean that in a bad sense, but it's like,
no, they were thoughtful about a balanced platform.
They really were. And as they're introduced, well, you're going to introduce people that you're connected to. And that's how it is. And that's where it's been. And you have so many invitations. And so you're very methodical of who you bring in. And I found that when you bring in the people that actually bring value, you get more invites. Like, I don't even know why I get so many invites, but it's just that's the way it is. And that's part of the ecosystem. So you have that's going on. And we've had really big powerhouses like Elon Musk that was talking to the CEO of Robinhood.
Yeah.
You've had Mark Zuckerberg that's jumped on. You have all these different people that organically have come on and have brought really cool value. Now,
Joe Budden was doing something.
Exactly. And what's interesting is it's that dynamic of, hey, this is the conversations that happen in the halls of VidSummit. This is the stuff that you're able to get higher level people and connection. It's really easy for me to be anywhere and just boom, jump in, where I'm not going to do that in Facebook. There's no way I'm going to do that in Facebook or on Twitter or wherever, just because it can be received differently. This one's coming in, you contribute, you receive, there's that instant gratification and value. Or you just pop to another club. Now, stereo is being introduced, and this is where I find it a unique case study. Clubhouse is really easy to understand. You can understand it in probably like 2 minutes, okay? And stereo is like a competitor of Clubhouse. It has a lot of similarities, but it's a little bit different in its own way, and it should be because it's just different. Now, Clubhouse is throwing the most money I've ever seen behind this, that I've ever seen.
Clubhouses?
I'm sorry. Stereo is throwing the most money behind it and doing these massive deals with creators.
Yes.
And people say it's comparable what Mixer was doing, back in the day. The difference would be is they're doing it in a unique way. I think they learned from the mistakes that Mixer made, and they're making better decisions where it's integrating them on a brand deal on another platform where they're big, and then leveraging them for incentive to fill up the rooms. So the bigger the rooms are, the more money you make. This is a business, guys. And I've said for a very long time that a platform could come and compete with YouTube. They can't. They just need to incentivize the creator. And so this is an interesting case study. And I think we're going to learn a lot from this because you do have the organic approach, but you're going to go where the most value is going to be consistently. And for the creators to make money, and they're in contract, they have to do it weekly, and they have to make certain benchmarks. So they're going to have to push it, okay? And that alone, if you do that for a consistent year, you're going to go wherever your favorite influencer or creator is going to be, and you're going to get that content that you're looking for. And this is a very disruptive thing. So I think I'm going to sit back, eat the popcorn, and watch this. I have my bets that Clubhouse will win as soon as they open up Android, just because this is happening already naturally, where they don't have to pay someone to do it.
Culture.
And there's a set of culture that's there, and I think they're the right type of people. What it's attracting is the people that are early adopters. Those early adopters is the Apple culture. They'll buy whatever's brand new.
Yeah.
And so that's why they went on that platform. And now
smartest thing they ever did.
They did, and then it's going to trickle out once they get all their bugs worked out. And so I think it's a very interesting model. However, I wouldn't put all my money on Clubhouse, because if you get the right people that can draw the right audience and they get consistently loving it, then it's game over. Like whoever can do that consistently is going to win. And that's why I love that that's actually a Clubhouse or a case study. Now for me, I'm leveraging, I haven't started a room on stereo, but I am on Clubhouse because I first discovered it and I actually found value and it brought me money. And so why would I want to do something else when I could build a following there? And I probably should. I probably should build a following on the other and get people to realize that. But I only have so much time. And I think a lot of people are in the same thing. So this Tuesday, I'm actually doing my first ever scheduled Clubhouse. I usually just do it impromptu, and I'll get like 400 or 500, 600 people. But we'll see how this goes. I'm testing that too, and I'm interviewing Eric and Hayden, who does the Hayden's my co-host, but he edits
Hayden Smith from from Logan Paul's editor, and his own YouTube channel as well. Yeah,
and it's awesome. So, like we gotta
wait. What time is that? Can you tell us again?
It is 6:00 Pacific on Tuesday.
6:00 Pacific Standard Time on Tuesday on the Clubhouse app. If you don't have an invite, better call somebody.
I'll put it on my Twitter. You can follow that on there. But it's in a group. It's called, I think, YouTube Secrets. This is kind of perfect for our question of the day here. But let me make sure. I think it is. It's like YouTube Secrets is the club that I'm doing it in. But you can get it. It'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
YouTube Secrets. YouTube marketing secrets.
YouTube marketing secrets. And so, yes. And, again, you probably will want to, if you guys are not already, follow us on Twitter at Derral Eves and at Roberto Blake. You probably, if you are on the Clubhouse app, want to probably follow us with notifications on. And I'm going to obviously be there. I'm going to be all ears.
People that are selling, this might be a joke, but there are people that are selling invites to Clubhouse.
Is that like that? Wait, that's actually happening?
That's happening right now, and that too further validates the value that is placed on it. So there's that internal value that's placed on it, and I think that's what's interesting is that exclusivity is going to ingrain in their mind more of a special place, right?
Exclusivity can be perceived as value, and a lot of people don't understand that. That's another psychological thing in human behavior. That's why, again, Apple elitist, that's having that newest phone that visibly is the newest phone because of the number of cameras. It's a real thing psychologically. That's real. That's something that happens. It's also why, again, they put the ring on the red ring on the newer Apple Watch. They wanted a visible symbol that says you are an elite, that you stand out, that there's exclusivity. And that is something that human beings naturally create hierarchies. Then that's just how it is. So just remember, I think that's what Clubhouse will win ultimately. I'm going to play around on Stereo, and hey, Stereo, if you are throwing around money and everything like that, I'm sure we could figure it out.
No, but it's not money. It's ridiculous amount of money. Like when I heard what was being done, I'm like, you kidding me? Like some creators that would make 5 figures, it would be a 6-figure deal, but not on the small side of 6 figures. It was like on the medium size, and I'm like, holy crap.
Stereo, holla at your boy. Juice, thank you for the $5 chat. Roberto, thanks for you and Think Media and video influencers. I gained 20K and monthly brand deals. You guys are geniuses. It was because you did the hard work and because you were willing to overcome some of your skepticism. Juice actually was someone who was wondering if any of this like stuff is real or works. I remember from back in the day, Juice, and like you put in the work, you took it seriously, you applied yourself. You took what is valuable to you from our advice with a grain of salt and made things work for you. And you did that. You built that. You created that. So congrats to you, man, on 20K subscribers. Like 90% of creators never achieve that. They never achieve 10,000. Most people quit before that. So congrats to you, man. And thank you. Let's see. Naomi has an interesting question. Derral, do you think 1 year after your video on your channel dying, where you said you were going to put your strategies into place to grow in real time, that your channel didn't grow much? Like, that's an interesting question. I'm not even 1,000% sure what that question is.
I did it back in about it was May of last year. I was going to put some resources in. I actually had some other businesses opportunities come up that I decided to do it. So like I said it and I did it, and like, I'll be first to say that I haven't put my strategies in place, or you'd see more videos from me. Like, I just literally decided to have the channel be what it is, which is when I have spare time to do it. I just have too many opportunities that have bigger impact, and I can't go into a lot of detail on that.
That's fine.
And then two,
writing this book.
Well, that too. But there's other ways to do it. But yeah, I mean, I'll be first to say, okay, maybe I misspoke on that one.
You know what? Here's the thing though, and here's the lesson I want to take from this, because I take it as a positive, Derral, is you did your channel for a very long time has been in side hustle mode. I feel that my channel's in side hustle mode, if I'm being frank and I'm being honest. I don't put everything that I possibly could into my channel because I'm doing other business ventures as well. And I'm helping other creators the same way that you are day in and day out. And yet these side hustle channels of ours, you're at 600,000 subscribers now. It has helped build the careers literally of hundreds, if not thousands of people off of the free content you provide alone. And so I still feel that there is a success in that story of the fact that something you do, even if you're not in the position to do it the way you might have imagined, even if you're not in a way to do it the way that you might have told yourself you're going to, can still create tremendous value for you and other people. And so I don't want to discount that, because again, I wasn't even sure if I was reading this question correctly, but I love your answer to it. And I love the fact that,
well, here's the reality. And Naomi, I want you to listen to what I'm saying. Okay. This is true. I own 7 businesses, 2 of which make over $100 million a year. Okay, they just do. Not I don't put it in my bank account, but it's reinvested in the company itself. And they've done $100 million in sales. I think that's the better better indicator for me.
In gross top line revenue, not in profit.
Exactly. And so we own 17 YouTube channels that are performing. That we do 22 videos a week. We just started a brand new YouTube channel that's 2 new videos a week, so that it takes it from 17 to 19 videos that we do per week. And that's that one business. Right now in Texas, and this is not justification, but you can see my reasoning. Right now in the state of Texas, I'm flying to here in tomorrow. I fly there every week. We have 210 people that are producing a TV series that I'm the CEO and president and executive
showrunner
on. And so I'm running that as well. And that's probably the biggest decision of where I wanted to put my focus on, is that project. Because I think it has a lot of impact as well.
And it's your passion project. I remember you talking
really
about this
100%.
for so long.
Yeah, no, and it's facilitated. It's done great, right? We're going season 2. And so that right there. And then I do personal coaching, which I get a lot of satisfaction out. Every Wednesday I do personalized one-on-ones. And then I also do group coaching scenarios with my group students that I have in Channel Jumpstart. And I don't know, it's very enjoyable, and I've been able, last year we were able to get 2 new gold play buttons on channels that we own. I mean, that's great. And we're going to get 4 this year, because we got 2 that are just almost there. And then we got 2 more that are just on the path of ideation. And so those are revenue. And when you see the revenue in that, it's kind of hard to go back and do something in that realm. And I decided to focus more on the book, focus more on the coaching, and then get as consistent as I have time to on my main channel. And so you might see it's about every 6 weeks or more that I'll upload a video. But we did launch a free 30-day creator challenge that has helped more people get to thousands and thousands of subscribers and hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of views coming from a free resource of a free 30-day challenge. And so that's where I was putting the focus in energy and time. It might change. I would hope that it changes. I do love to help the community, but for right now, that's where I'm putting my energy and focus. So,
yeah, great answer, Derral. Even me, I wanted to do 100 videos last year. I fell short. I failed. I did 90. I wanted to do 100 videos last year. I did 90. I came up short. And I believe in that, and I still want to do that this year. I wanted to do 3 videos a week, and I saw in January, I was like, you know what? I probably can do 2 videos a week, maybe 1 video a week and a live stream, or 2 videos and a live stream. I think I can do that and then do my other projects, the other channels, do my coaching and not burn out. And I think that I can actually get back into shape this year the way I wanted to. I want to get back into running shape. I want to be able to break a 7-minute mile again. And I had to make a choice of what my priorities were, and I decided that my health was my priority, my business, my students were my priority, and that I don't need to do more content to create more value. I figured it out.
And that's where I'm at. And I learned early on where I do give tips. It's like, hey, let us see your channels and all that other stuff. And I think Carrie had that question. I do share some channels, and it's the ones that I know that you can't replicate and rip off. Like, I don't want to create my own competition, so there's no way in a million years I'm ever going to do it. But you can see when you go to any of my stuff, you can see where they're actually gold play buttons and stuff like that. You can see the one that I was just talking about, The Chosen. You can go to The Chosen. It has like 730 something thousand subscribers. You can see that. I'm not the face of the channel. I'm in videos. I'm on live streams and stuff like that. But I do have a partner that we're doing there. And then you're able to see other, like I actually introduced in my book a couple other channels that we own, and you'll be able to see those as well. But I think the essence of it, when you take where you put your focus and time, and you mentioned, Roberto, you don't need to do more. You just need to be able to provide the value that you need. And for me, I decided that it's more about creating ways for people to get into my channel Jumpstart program, which is 12 weeks with me. And I get more satisfaction out of that and helping people there than I do where people are just coming from the latest tip or hack. Like, I don't really care about that. I want people that want to make a difference in the world. And I found ways to generate traffic to bring them in because I haven't really advertised for it. It just naturally sells itself because I'm able to pull in results. I was like looking at results that we made someone $825,000, and you can see the point when they created, and this is in 6 months that they were able to do that.
Wow.
And I was able to put this in a group that I have, and I showed the moment that they joined Channel Jumpstart and they learned the system and they were able to change it. And two, they're getting everyone that's a part of it. They're like, dude, yeah, it's so awesome to see their growth. We were able to get this, and you have all the different things. So I think the proof's in the pudding.
Yes.
And I'm 100% a case study. My whole book's about case study. But there's a reason why I take on these massive projects like breaking a world record of the most crowdfunded project of all time in film and television. And it's because I want to do what I'm passionate in, but also make a movement out of it as well.
I love that, and I love the spirit behind that, and I love the idea of breaking through your own limits in your own way and on your own terms. It's something that I believe in probably more than anything.
Well, and we've been friends long enough that I've confided in you, and I says I'm going to do this, and you're like, go right ahead, man, and you can see it come to fruition.
Yeah,
it's been great, and it all comes back down to goal setting and being determined and surrounding yourself with the right people. I couldn't do it by myself, but I can with my team. Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't have gotten through 2020 without building a team. Like, I still do too much on the YouTube channel side, and I'm going to grow that team. But I could have never done what I did with Awesome Creator Academy, and I could have never, through having that off of my plate as much, to do as many of the cool things that I did, some of the great brand partnerships and collaborative things that I've done, some of the even personal development work that I did in 2020 to get through COVID depression. I had massive depression throughout all of 2020, and I couldn't have done it without the support of my team, without the support of my family. I could have never, without the support of my community here, I could have never done it on my own. I could have never achieved everything that I have by trying to do it completely 1000% by myself.
Yeah, I can honestly say that if you want to impact the world, if you want to do something far bigger, you have to get other people involved. You can't do it on your own. I don't care who you are. It's you create a movement or whatever it is. And part of I actually share in depth in the book of the methodology of growing a community for the chosen. And I show every little thing. I actually have a chapter where I quoted a book for a long time in a lot of my presentations, and a lot of creators have used this, Primal Branding by Patrick Canlin. But I add a couple codes to it that he's never considered. And I really go in depth on things that I look at even deeper. And I explain why, and I showed the case study. So that's one of those case studies you're able to see from day one of a plan and an idea and how we're able to grow and get, about 1.4 million followers on Facebook, because that was our first platform. You think that I'm the YouTube guy, well, no, I'm an audience guy, and I went where the audience was, and that was on Facebook. And now It's just been over a year and probably about 4 months that we've been on YouTube. And we're gonna hit 1 million subscribers come July. Like that's where we're at. We're on that path. We have some very big release times and some strategies that's coming up that will push us over the edge there, and that's what's exciting. So.
No, good stuff. And I am excited for you, brother. And real quick, I do want to acknowledge some of these super chats that came in that we didn't get to pop up on the screen, but I'll read them off. Kendrick Foster with a $50 super chat. Thank you, Roberto, for all your videos. Started 4 months ago and recently got monetized, largely in part to your tips. To anyone like myself, keep grinding. Your next video could be the one that jumpstarts your channel. That's excellent. And that's actually a good plug for Jumpstart. We have Regular Productions. He says, I have a small gaming channel around single playthroughs, and I've been following Roberto's advice doing 100 crappy videos, but I haven't noticed much traction. Is this normal or should I change? I'll say something about that is because, and MrBeast has said this too, and I used MrBeast, PewDiePie, and Marquez Brownlee as my example. Doing 100 crappy videos is not about growing your channel. It's about not sucking anymore at making videos. It's about learning how to be a creator.
Yeah, it's about learning the mistakes that you make and learning the successes that you need to replicate. So.
Exactly. I couldn't have learned how to watch my first couple of videos for a primary example of this. I am the worst person in terms of on-camera presence in videos 1 through videos 30 before I even remotely become watchable. Okay? My first 30 videos were not watchable.
I'm still waiting to be watchable for me, man.
I think you're doing all right. But no, whether it's gaming or anything else, it's like my whole thing, and I watched Jimmy do this, I watched MrBeast do this, and I watched Marquez as well, and even PewDiePie, is those 100 crappy videos are not about growing your channel or growing your audience. Those 100 crappy videos are about just being an athlete. There is no way to walk onto the field or the court and start dunking on people day one who have been varsity. You're a freshman, you can't do it, unless you and even if you were talented, talent without training is meaningless, as Luke Skywalker would say. So you really have to put in the work. You really do. And there's so much opportunity to learn. It's learn first, grow second, my friends. It really is.
Well, let's talk about learning. And I want to have this topic, and I think this is really relevant to everyone. And I want you to hear the conversation between Roberto and I.
Okay.
I'm going to mention a movie title, and I want to get your reaction from it and why you reacted to it, okay? The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi, for me, is a commentary on hubris, and I also think that it is a flawed film, and I think that it's actually a film about the concept of being flawed. I think that it's a film that the only thing that really actually makes me really enjoy the film is the scene where Luke relitigates the failings of the Jedi Order that led to the downfall of his father, Anakin Skywalker, for whom Star Wars revolves around the tragedy of Anakin Skywalker. And so that's boom. There you go.
So how many times have you watched it?
I've watched it, I think, 8 times in total.
Okay. So now you're a super geek when it comes to Star Wars, right?
I know the Tarkin doctrine. I can quote the Tarkin. I can quote the Tarkin doctrine. I know more about Grand Moff Tarkin than any other nerd on the planet. I swear to God.
Okay. So I want to give relevance to, and this is really important. Okay, and here you have a very well-known, amazing director, Rain Johnson, and he did Knives Out and a few amazing, really good shows, right? Mm-hmm. But he said very bluntly that he's not going to conform to the Star Wars culture, and he's gonna tell the story his way, not being handicapped to create that video.
A film about hubris.
And I can tell that when you're a creator and you don't celebrate the community that's there, then you'll create content that will disconnect. And I'm telling you, I have watched, I can't even tell you how many times I watched my favorite Star Wars. It's in the thousands, okay? It's Empire Strikes Back, best movie of all time, ever existed. I love it to death. I can pretty much tell you every little detail of it. Okay, I also read every freaking book in the expanded universe. Like I have. Okay.
Use on Vong.
Okay, so you know that I'm obsessed with it. If I walked out, I was literally going to walk out of the theater. I was so disappointed in the way that it was portrayed. I only watched it once. I will not go back. I will not go back. I'm a hardcore fan. Now,
I've only watched it 8 times because I watch the Star Wars movies in multiple orders. So I can't skip it.
That's fine. That's fine. But I won't do that. It's a piece of crap, okay? From my perspective, because it created a world that I did not believe existed in the Star Wars universe. And you see I'm getting passionate about this.
Yes.
Luke was whining in the beginning, but then he became what he is, a master Jedi, and he's not going to revert back to it. Like, I don't care who you are. He is the Luke of The Mandalorian. Okay.
Yes. So I was going to ask you about the storytelling of The Mandalorian proving your point about something that connects with the audience.
Well, then you take two people that actually understand good storytelling, but they understand audience's passion and they ignite it. Okay.
Kevin Feige and Dave Filoni.
Exactly. Dave Filoni is one of the most amazing creators that's out there. He understands storytelling and the reasoning behind it. But he's flawed in his, his approach. But you have Jon Favreau. Oh my gosh, he is like the master of his art and craft, and he knows how to ignite the fans. And when I first watched Mandalorian, I go, "Oh, this is good." Second episode in, I go, "Oh, this is great."
Great.
Oh,
yes.
The third episode in, this is amazing content. And the difference would be is they know how to celebrate with that core viewer. And the difference between The Last Jedi, which I will predict that it'll be washed under the rug because they're going to create content that.
Well, you think it'll be that, or will it be rebooted?
Well, I don't. I hope they never like it. Disney
extended. I mean, after Return of Jedi, is that world rebooted, or are they just going to move on with stuff like The Mandalorian? Do you think
this is a really important? If you're thinking this is Star Wars Pivot, a podcast, it's about creating content that engages your core viewer. Disney made the biggest mistake to try to finish something that was already completed, which is Anakin's journey. Okay, Anakin's journey is the essence of what Star Wars is. They should have went back 3,000 years ago.
To Revan and Bane and the rule of the old Republic, and they should have. I agree. And the Sith Emperor Vitiate. Yes, please.
Okay, now everyone realize. See, him and I agree on that. We want that. We didn't want what was made. Okay, we want that.
I feel like I could have written a better trilogy, but that
100%. So that being said, that's what you got to do as a content creator. And that's what Mandalorian is doing to both an old audience that was really disconnected from, from Last Jedi,
the sequel trilogy,
and they are. Well, I couldn't even watch. Like it just like I know JJ tried his best to fix things, but you can't fix an underlying premise of who Luke Skywalker was, and the replace of what was canon. From the core viewer's perspective. But this is, as a content creator, you got to take this in mind. And so this is the passion that ignites. You saw how emotionally connected that Roberto and I, and now D. Nimmons on here, like the D. Nimmin, like the three of us, we could talk about Star Wars forever. Like D.
So when are we starting our Star Wars podcast?
Like, D actually has the Mandalorian armor, right? It's just like he has that. He spent money. He does the dress up. That's one step above fanatical of where I'm at. But it's like this is the type of audience that you're engaging with as a YouTube creator. And Roberto's running, but he's getting some supplies here. Like he's getting all the supplies that's going on. But this is what connects viewers to your content that they're passionate about. You got to ignite that. You got to know and anticipate what they would be ignited to. So in Mandalorian, when Luke Skywalker shows up, everyone was like reacting differently. I emotionally was connected to that. This is like the best scene ever. And then when you actually look at it from the lens of what Darth Vader was doing, You know, it just, it was so epic, the comparison of father and son in that journey.
The batteries for it are dead.
But that right there, guys, is the essence of understanding your audience. And when you don't deliver the promise of what you're supposed to do on the audience, then they become disconnected. And then I almost want to walk out of the theater, and I only watched it once. I will not watch it again. I will ultimately, I didn't even want to watch Knives Out. I was so distraught, you know, and I did, and it was a great movie, and he should just stick to that type of stuff and never touch my universe ever again.
I think what you're saying is you have to understand your viewer, and you have to align to the expectations of your audience, and also a culture that if you decide to step into the culture of something like a video game franchise, and I'm going to get to the rest of these super chats here, but like if you decide to step into the culture of a video game franchise and you disrespect that culture or you don't understand that culture, they're going to eat you alive. If you, frankly, not everybody can or should do commentary style videos because they don't necessarily understand the culture or the inside jokes of an audience or a fan base and everything like that. And they're going to ultimately get eaten alive. There's things that if you don't respect the audience and you don't understand the culture of the audience, or if it's alien to you, you should probably just leave it be and do something else and do something you're passionate about and attract the people that you're passionate about the same things as you. Because if you chase things like that, or you just sign on to things that don't, it's just even like taking a brand deal that doesn't respect the audience or doesn't fit with the audience is a tragic mistake that you do for the money, in the same way that attaching yourself to a brand or a franchise.
Sellout, though. That's a sellout moment because it's off brand. And
exactly.
But I think the nature of it is, you got to know your audience. That's why I spend so much time trying to understand what makes them tick.
Yes.
That psychological breakdown, the psychographics. I spend a amount of time that most people wouldn't even dream of. And the reason why is if you can ignite what ignites them in video form, you now got a fan. And if you can, you could do it, well, you got a viewer. And then if you can do it consistently, you get a fan. That right there is key. And I look at, you know, what will take them watching multiple videos and binge watching that effect is providing that value over and over again. So that was an example of not nerding out on Star Wars, but understanding your audience and make good decisions that are creative, because you can still create what you want, but he wanted to destroy that thing. He did. Like, he's quoted to do it, and he's proud of doing that.
Yeah, and he took the wrong thing to deconstruct. Like, I don't think deconstruction is great as an art form. It's not something you do with this audience, with a multi-generational audience and fan base that is attached. Like, that's not, like, Mandalorian subverted our expectations, but it did without disrespecting us as an audience.
But in the Book of Boba Fett, it just literally ignited everything, because he just came back as a BA, you know, and just ready to take everything into control. Like I'm going in more. I think what's going to save Disney and all the movie stuff is everything they're going to do on Disney Plus. I mean, you have Obi-Wan. They're going to, you know, you have all this stuff that can go here, and I think they can course correct a lot of bad decisions that were being made on a grander scale. You know,
I agree.
You got to feed your love group, guys. You have to feed your love group. And you can feed them in a way that you can still be creative and take an element. Like they could have went several different directions. The thing for me is, if it would have been about Luke and the new Jedi Order, that could have gone for 12, 20 different movies.
Or they could have even gone the more creative route and gone beyond that, and then only referenced everybody as flashbacks to give us something. Because again, I thought it was too much. To be honest, I thought it was too much of a risk to use the original cast because of their advanced age, and you know, unfortunately, Carrie Fisher passed. I always thought that they should have been more creative in the writing to have that built into the plan.
Yeah, and like for me, I already told you what I'd do. Go back 3,000 years and you got it all solved, right?
Well, I
could always say, "Oh, here's the chosen one's going to come." Well, when's that going to happen? You can start talking about.
I would do both. I would have went to the past and had things like that in the prophecy of the Sithari. I would have had the Tython. Actually, I want a Star Wars show that is about the Force Wars on Tython and the rise of the Jedi Order through the Jedi wiping out the other ideologies. I actually want to see that, and then see the Jedi used to be united with the light and dark side, and how they would balance somebody by sending them either to they would either on the 2 moons of Tython, they would either send them to the moon Bokan, I believe, was the moon that was the dark. Yeah. It was Bokan, and then the other one was, God, what was the other one? Okay. The light side moon. It was one of those things that's hard to pronounce. It's a tongue twister. But anyway, the point is the doing anything that would have expanded the mythology, I think, would have been a better choice. But I digress.
Yeah. So this is the best case study example of people that are passionate about something. And creators, if you want to create content, you want to have these types of discussions happening. You want to be able to have them be, oh, have you seen this? And have this shareable moment that can occur online, offline, where they're talking about your creation, right? Yeah. And realistically, when you have people that are emotionally tied to your content, they become a lot more passionate. They become a lot more ingrained in that culture. And there's a way that they can celebrate. Like, I can say specific words that would ignite people, but would really confuse everybody else that wasn't a part of that culture, right? And then you have different levels of it, and there's different levels of commitment. These are the types of things that happen in audience development. These are the types of things that I actually cover in my book, and I take a full chapter and I go way in depth of really understanding the psychology of people and where you need to take it, where you're giving them a little bit more, where it's self-sustaining. And you can look back. There's a great book that Pat Flynn wrote called Superfans.
Superfans.
Yeah. It's a really great book, and it's really complete in all the different aspects. However, there's certain things that you can really leverage even further that I go a lot more in depth in the book, because it's something that I've been able to do. I've grown a lot of audiences, and I don't know too many people in the space that has grown as many audience diversely as I have.
No, it's just you.
And
you and Viacom.
And I literally found the sweet mix of what to do, and a lot of it is really knowing your fan base, your viewer base, and igniting them. Because you look at the best brand of igniting and storytelling is WWE. And it's no surprise that they're the 5th most watched channel on YouTube. Yes. Because they have a passionate group, and they're able to leverage it in so many different ways, which is awesome. So, okay. Indeed. Looks like Jack has a question for us.
Yes. So Jack says, launching a game show with YouTubers as contestants, plugging their channel for being on it. Recommendations on how to get YouTubers on the show.
Money.
Yep, that'll do it.
Or visibility that they don't have.
Which, if they're going to be big enough to bring an audience for you, they already have the visibility, so they don't need the exposure unless you were doing smaller channels, which by itself may not necessarily grow your thing. So Derral's right in this case.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it'd be diverse. But I think, Jack, I would look at, the risk and reward. So if you make it hip and cool, people come on it regardless, okay?
That's true.
And then 2 is the payoff. So there's a lot to learn. The payoff could be money, or it's that social moment that people want to talk about. So I'd look at that for sure.
I would also say there's a lot to learn even from looking at the MrBeast challenge videos of, could you create an experience that's so exciting and so interesting that YouTubers would want to be a part of it? Now, with a game show, in living in the new world where we deal with COVID, that takes on a different form. But think about it in a way where, again, if you do create a great show and everything, you just saw me and Derral passionately talk about Star Wars and everything like that. Tune into our new podcast, where we just talk all things nerdy. But we probably could. But anyway, the thing that I would say in that situation is to really just think about what could be a unique experience for those YouTubers that, regardless of any other value, that they would just want to be a part of. Because the thing is, even without winning money, I would compete in a MrBeast challenge and everything like that, just because I believe I can suffer more than other people, and I wouldn't mind proving it. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So that's the kind of thing. Simply Dana, thank you for becoming a channel member and joining Awesome Squad. Appreciate you. Scrolling. No, Clubhouse is not available on Android, not yet anyway, but it is coming soon.
So they say.
Joni says, Call of Duty Shorts surged to about 2,500 views and die off. Retention is 95 to 102% on 30-second videos. CTR 20 to 30%. I assume because of low CTR. That's not low. I'm assuming that this is specifically. No, it is a specific question about YouTube Shorts. Any insight on this, Derral?
Yeah. So traffic. See where your traffic was coming from. It could have been from the short shelf, or it could have been browse feature. It just really depends how it was picked up. And you'll be able to see that if it hit and it went fairly well and then it just died off. It could be just because your traffic's dead there. And if it's short shelf, it should be rejuvenating a lot because there's not a lot of competitions there. But you might have maxed out the people that are actually interested in that type of content. So it's just, there's a kind of a mix between that. You'd have to look a little bit more deeply into your analytics.
Agreed. And again, I wouldn't expect shorts to have a long shelf life. I mean, just look at the name. It's called Shorts. It's like, it's not, in my mind, YouTube Shorts are not necessarily designed to be evergreen content, nor would they function in that same way, in my opinion. Not yet, because the product's still in its infancy. So again, we don't know what it will become, but I'm just saying that's what I'm seeing right now. Apparently, people are selling Clubhouse invites on Reddit.
I'm telling you, it's already happening. Yeah.
Why am I not like? I mean, I just
don't capitalize. If anybody needs it, tweet me.
No, I'm not capital. I'm saying I was gonna ask why is it I'm always the last to know about all of this craziness. I never envy. A lot of times I'm the last to know about any of this stuff, and then I don't believe it when I hear about it, and it turns out to be absolutely true.
Yeah, no, it's like people are making thousands of dollars on PS5s, right?
Well, no, that makes it. Yeah, I get it. Like I can't even get it. RTX 3080s.
It's like if you're not allowed into something, then it becomes value. If you want to get into something, that's value. So
the RTX 3080 graphics card now is double the freaking price that it should be.
Literally, tell me about that.
Yeah, like no, I'm. It's a real problem. I'm like, I could perfect my machine and. Yeah. Darren Dowler wants to know, what is the best strategy to get your first 10,000 subscribers and really get going? I believe we've both done videos about that, but yeah. Do you have a thought?
Yeah, Darren, go back through your YouTube channel, look in analytics and see which video brought the most subscribers. And I want you to ask, why did that bring more subscribers than anything else? And then look at your second video. Ask them why that brought more subscribers. And I want you to go do some videos that didn't bring any subscribers. And we'll ask, why didn't that bring subscribers? Make a list of all the reasons why they brought subscribers and the other one didn't. And then I would try to replicate that. Because then if you do that consistently, then you're doing content that will actually bring subscribers versus content that doesn't bring any subscribers or it's a net negative.
That's what I did, and I did it also in terms of evergreen content and built playlist deep of videos that would be valuable to the same audience and would get subscribers, and it still works to this day. And in fact, when I get awareness on other videos that are relevant, it's why, oddly enough, for the last couple of days now, Derral, I've actually been getting 1,000 new subscribers a day. Pretty close to every day or every other day now. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it shocked me. So, but I looked at the analytics and I saw what happened, and what you're explaining is true. There are videos that have hit the right audience, and there are videos that go deeper on that exist in the library that would have gotten those same people, and they're now working together to grow the channel as a whole. So don't sleep on the fact that it all adds up.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to sleep on it.
David Hunt says, thanks for the value given at 54 subs now. Looking forward to the book when it drops in February 24th, 2021. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm actually probably going to grab a couple more of them and do some kind of giveaway on my Instagram. So guys, at Roberto Blake, follow me over there and be part of the giveaway, or just buy it now. Buy the book. Link, of course, is in the description down below. Let's see here. Oh, we got Renee Ritchie. Just let Dave Filoni and Kevin Feige be the Kevin Feige of Star Wars. I need this podcast from y'all.
Get Definitely.
Star Wars Theory, if you're out there, we'll come on your stream. I love Star Wars Theory. Star Wars Theory is actually one of the
good.
it's one of the best success story. Yeah, it's one of the best success stories in the YouTube community. Did you know he like started like on a like iPhone? Like he started his channel on an iPhone.
You bring value. It doesn't matter what you shoot on.
I know.
That's what I say. It's awesome.
But I say it's so encouraging of a story in that way and everything like that. He started on an iPhone. He beat cancer. There's just like, I mean, there's so many great success stories in the YouTube community of people who weren't lucky and weren't, didn't have a lot of money to throw at something to get started and everything. I mean, Mr. Beast used to make $1 a day, and he started on a broken iPhone 5, I believe, and then a webcam.
Yep.
So just, you gotta go through it sometimes. Sometimes
gotta go through it.
I mean, what does the kids say? Life be like that sometimes.
Something like that.
Yeah. RB the breakthrough for the NBA trending content versus evergreen content. Most of my 328 blowing up was from trending, but I enjoy doing evergreen. If you enjoy doing evergreen, I would argue do both. But what do you think, Derral?
So my students will validate this a lot. I like to really focus in on where's going to bring the audience. And so if the audience is coming through browse, you need to start figuring out, okay, how can you, and this is browse is trending, by the way. What would be a natural, series of videos that would relate to that trending topic that you should do as evergreen, and then you could actually do both. I found that if you're going to do the evergreen content, then you need to increase your upload frequency so you can have a bigger library to get the same impact that you would on focusing on this style of way.
Yeah, I've also seen where people, if they have a video that hits trending and they know they can't necessarily replicate the trend, what they do is they find an element that the audience really latched onto in that video, and they might be able to get some evergreen topical content out of that there's clearly a desire or a demand from that was embedded in the trend. It's like, okay, this trend was a once in a lifetime or once in a while event, but is there anything that's not temporary that's inside within this, or a cultural thing that exists within this that I can attach to? And I've seen people do that very successfully. So trend surfing is totally valid and people blow up off of it all the time, but that doesn't mean that you can't find another desire within the audience to serve in a more consistent manner, because that might just be the gateway, but now they have something to build a real community around.
Agreed.
Supreme Comics Girl, thank you for the super chat sticker. And I think we're just going to do this last one, and then I'll let you give your final thoughts, Derral. But we have a 100. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
100 from World According to Briggs. Thank you. Big member of the community. Thanks for all the help over the years, you two. I got most of my YouTube knowledge from the two of you. Well, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Really appreciate that. But Derral, you've been really generous, and I don't want to keep you any longer. You've been here for 3 hours, true marathon runner. What are your final thoughts for the community that you want to share?
Be passionate about what you're creating. That passion, if you'll couple it with goal setting, will take you to where you want to be. And the passion should be, hey, I'm going to make the best content possible in my own vein. And I'm going to take that data and I'm going to understand that data and I'm going to analyze it in a way that I can make a better decision, a data-driven decision on new content. That's the analyzing and adjust phase. And as you understand what works, what doesn't work, and you're taking that into consideration when you're planning your new type of content, and really understanding that there's people watching and people that are engaging and people that are finding value and people that are not finding value. The more consistently you do that, you're going to see growth. And I can truly say that if you want the formula, go buy the book. It's just basically teaching you how to respond to humans and the things that you need to, with all my information I've received over the career of doing things on YouTube, but also in the essence of marketing. And when you look at some of the things that I've been being a part of, it's very vast. It's not just in audience development. It's more about human behavior and psychology of getting them to take action. And as you do that, it will help you really lead to making better content that will connect people, that will find value, and then they'll want to share it with other people that will actually find a way to organically grow. And I can tell you that here's a secret that most people won't talk about, and I haven't shared it very often, but I will here right now. As soon as you get that title and thumbnail down and you get the hook down, what I want you to do is focus in on the last part of the video. And so many creators, they draw out that video and they try to push everything in there and make it longer than it should be. It should be very impactful, and very quickly. And I want you to focus in on it. It's what I call the gush moments. And I learned this from some clients I was working with, and it helps with the effect of getting people to binge. If you can get them, have that one moment where it's like so good. And I want you to picture this. It's like going into a movie theater and watching a movie. The movie was so amazing, but the ending just was horrible. You leave the movie theater and you're less likely to recommend it. You're like, yeah, it's a really good movie, but I really didn't like the ending. But if you have that moment where it's that triumph moment, the blowing up of the Death Star moment, that you're like, you're standing on your seats and you're screaming yes, then you're like, you got to go see that, and you go back in line and want to watch it again. You know, that moment of completion and that climax of the video itself should be in that same scenario of what people should experience. And so if you can focus in on that, that's one of those elements that people will come to experience and come to get to the end of the video. They'll be a lot more tolerant in the middle of the video if it's predictably that moment, that payoff is real, and that payoff is something that, like, oh my gosh, that was so funny, or that's so engaging, or that was so inspiring, or that was so like the knowledge bomb that I needed. That's what you got to focus in on. And when you understand that dynamically, you will improve. You will prepare better videos, and they'll be received more, and that's where you're able to grow. And I can tell you that is the YouTube formula. That is the human formula. That's the formula that I've used to get billions of views on YouTube. And anyone can do it. I've seen anyone do it. You just have to understand where you should focus in on. And that, in short, is some of the areas that you should focus in on.
Well said, Derral. I super appreciate that. I think that is a great place to end it. And if you guys want to get the book and you want to get the bonuses, what's the website, Derral?
The website is ytformula.com. ytformula.com, and you can go there and get the bonuses. If you did it from Amazon, I really do appreciate that. We'll figure out a way on a live stream. So make sure you follow me on socials, on YouTube. I'll be pushing that out because I really don't care where the sell comes from. But I think the big thing is those that went to YT Formula, there's a part of it I can't give out because it was exclusively for them. And there's some benefits just in the book that will naturally give you some great stuff.
Indeed. Also, I would encourage you guys to go to VidSummit.com and to grab replays of some of the great speaking engagements there. There's plenty in that archive, including my speaking engagements, and you can't really get that content elsewhere because whenever I do anything for VidSummit, I make it exclusive. And so I definitely want to encourage you guys to do that, and you get great stuff there. MrBeast has a fantastic presentation there. So does Peter McKinnon. Casey Neistat did the keynote, and I got to be there in person. And if you can't be there in person, then this is the next best thing. We also did the virtual VidSummit Worldwide last year to do that safely, and it was fantastic. And Derral, hats off to you for the amazing job you did putting that together in a clutch moment and coming through for the community. And there were some great talks and great presentations there. And again, I did yet another custom presentation there with content I don't put anywhere else. So make sure you're checking out vidsummit.com, ytformula.com. Also, I want to be sure to thank our wonderful sponsors for today's stream, both TubeBuddy and StreamYard, and you can find free links for those down below. And I really do want to thank them because we both use TubeBuddy extensively in the content we do. They also are great supporters of the community, but StreamYard has just allowed me to up the live stream game to a level that I've tried everything else, frankly. I've tried everything else and nothing has been as easy to use and as convenient to use as StreamYard, and they keep adding features. So make sure you're signing up for that for free, because if you want to do streaming at all, I do feel it could help take you to a whole nother level, and you don't even have to download anything, which is really convenient. So just want to go ahead and thank our great sponsors. Derral, it's been a pleasure. Everybody else, I hope that you truly got value from this. Remember, you also can take advantage of our free content and all of our resources. Links are down below. And again, just thank you to everybody. Stay awesome, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.
Cheers.